Testament, the form. Let's do it right now. Let's call to order. Pledge of allegiance, if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, with that said, let's do a roll call.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
Mr. Kangro.
Here.
Mr. Ford.
Here.
Mr. Jenk.
Here.
Mr. McAdams.
Here.
Everyone's present.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is a election of the officers for this year. And
I'm ready to make a nomination that Ben Jeek be chairman.
I'll second that.
Ready for a roll call?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Kangro.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Jenk.
Aye.
Mr. McAdams.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I also make a nomination of Scott Kangaroo as vice chair.
I'll second it.
Roll call. Mr. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Kangro.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Jenk.
Aye.
Mr. McAdams.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Okay, action on the minutes.
Switch seats.
You gotta switch seats, you're done.
Oh,
Your time's
man,
up.
now I gotta get all my stuff and move it.
We voted you out.
I hear you. Let's see. Get this, get
No, you
that.
can stay right there.
Here's this.
Okay.
Here's that.
Didn't know you were moving in.
I didn't, hell, I didn't know I had all this stuff.
Switch name tag, I guess.
Got your hammer.
I don't want it.
Get your name tag.
Okay. Let me, I like There you go. Oh, thanks. Thanks for bearing with us. Did the music stop yet?
Oh, there it is, there it is.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? Or any corrections?
Nope.
Nope.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Roll call. Mr. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Kangro.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. McAdams.
Aye.
Mr. Jenk.
Aye.
Motion passes. And before I forget, I believe we had did the last meeting minutes for you to sign that we didn't get signed the last time, so you'll have two sets to sign before you leave tonight.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, first case.
First case is case number 2121A. Applicant is the Hindu Society of Greater Cincinnati. Site location is 720 Barge Salt Run Road. Parcel number is referenced here on this slide. Zone R1, single family detached residential. And the request is to allow for a storage building, accessory storage building to be over the 20-foot requirement, to allow for a 6-foot 3-inch variance, so that the building would be overall 26 feet 3 inches. This is the location of the property and the approximate site on this slide. About 4,500 feet northeast of the intersection of Barge Salt Run and Claddy Road. Again, the zoning is R1. You can see the area around it is predominantly R1. Once you get off the site to the west and north, it's estate residential. Here is the site with the topography overlaid. I believe these are 10-foot contours. The area where the proposed building is located here in the area where I'm circling on the slide. The main temple is located here in the middle, essentially the property. I'm gonna pause here. So again, the buildings are roughly in this area here on this oblique imagery. The applicant has submitted several applications to the Township Board of Zoning Appeals over the years. We included some of those in the staff report. The structure was built around 1992 with a conditional use. Other applications the board have seen includes 1999 additions to the principal structure, which were initially denied and then ultimately were appealed and authorized by court order in 2000. In 2009, an open-air pavilion structure used in support of existing religious activities occurring on the site was approved with conditions. And in 2016, an addition to the principal structure was approved with conditions. In 2019, a gazebo structure was approved, and in 2021, a two-story addition to the principal structure was approved with conditions. Stop there. The primary access to the site is from Barge Salt Run Road. On the previous slides, you can see it right here, and you can see how it meanders into the property, basically along 275 until it veers to the northwest, and then straight pretty much north. The primary access has been established for about a decade. The Board of Zoning Appeals motion from case 8-16-A in October of 2016 stated, in part, item number 1, the primary and principal access point for the Hindu temple shall be determined to be from Barge Salt Run Road, with the gate locking along Claddy Road permanently closed, secured through electronic gate mechanisms, codes, and Knox box lock, to be utilized only by fire and police emergency responders and designated on the plans as emergency access only. There were some other conditions, and the number 5 was brought cross-referencing item number 1, and that modification number 1 is stated herein shall be done prior to the issuance of the zoning permit for the project. With respect to items 1 and 5 of the motion, which was again referenced and memorialized in the BZA minutes from the meeting in August of 2021 as item 2 of those conditions of approval, so this has come up a couple times. That condition of approval at the time of the staff report did not appear to have been satisfied, and I've got some slides that show you the pictures of the site, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Then therefore, noting that this item at minimum needs to be addressed prior to any new township permits or authorizations allowing other improvements, uses, etc. on the affected property. And this really needs to happen regardless, because this was a condition placed on the, as a part of the property, the conditional use multiple times. I don't see any, I have not seen any indication from 2021 that there was a challenge to that. I did see that in 2016 there was some legal paperwork involved with all that, but I checked with the township administrator, who, as you know, served in my position previously, and you know, his recollection was at the end of the day that condition stands and is enforceable. So that's something that would need to be addressed. The zoning permit that information we're reviewing tonight was initially, we had a permit received for storage structure in August of 2024. It was reviewed and subsequently approved, and with the permit number referenced there. The permit was later amended and approved again to acknowledge a new location in April of this year. In July of this year, the Planning and Zoning Staff Department members were made aware of potential noncompliance issue on the property with respect to the new storage structure and its size. The zoning inspector subsequently inspected the property and determined that the structure was non-compliant with respect to the height of the structure. Thus the need for the variance that we're discussing this evening. Zoning inspector notified the property owners in July on the 25th. On the 28th, staff met with the applicant's reps to discuss the matter, and ultimately they filed for this variance, and that's why we're here tonight. So what you see here in this slide is the updated site plan that we received in April of this year. The original location, we didn't provide that because at the end of the day it was moved. Closest setback was 145 feet, and that was to the western property line. What we did not have originally in the applicant information that the staff retained was this picture on the left that indicated the overall height was going to be 26 foot 3 inches. When the applicant went to go fill out the application, appears that the height of the structure was not filled out by the applicant at some point, and it appears that the staff was trying to help the applicant fill the application out, and in doing so, somehow the 22-foot number was referenced instead of 26 foot 3 inches. And even at 22 feet, there would have been a variance necessary for the 2 feet, so even then there was a mistake. However, as we know now, the structure is 26 feet 3 inches tall, so there's a even greater need for a variance, and was not anything that was authorized intentionally by the township. The applicant will speak to this. So the dimensions for the structure, as stated in the applicant's enclosures, relates to this chariot item that they can speak more about, which I believe the chariot height is noted to be 19.5 feet tall. So that opening, that was the reason for the opening being, bigger than 20 feet. I'll stop here for a second and show you some pictures. So this is looking northeast towards the proposed structure area from Claddy Road. This is actually inside the gate looking back. The structure is actually back in here. This is what you would see inside of the gate looking towards the area on Claddy Road as you come in, probably about, I don't know, maybe 100 feet in onto that property. If you go from Claddy Road along that drive, this is what you would see looking north to northeast. This neighboring property line is here on your left. That's the west line. There are all these trees that line the, essentially what is supposed to be the emergency access. This is if you're stopped along the emergency access looking straight to the north at the new structure. And you can see it's proportionally, taller than a typical structure because it's also narrow. This picture is really the only picture I could take that would show what the neighboring property might be able to see there. It's about 200 feet south of the building. There's an opening there where there's a Duke easement. You might have seen it on the overhead. And this is where the neighbor, I think, is maybe helping maintain along the property line where that Duke easement is. And so that's at least with the leaves on the trees and everything, that's really like probably the most visible opening that I saw in and around that site. That was the closest opening. And that was over around this corner here on the western property line where I took that previous picture. This picture is looking east from the direction more towards the Hindu temple at that side that has the other door. This is looking from the temple across that access, so you can see the trees that are there from that line, basically that access point. And this is the chariot itself, another picture. I'm going to pause here for a second. This is what you see on Claddy Road looking southeast. So I noted in the report with respect to all the setbacks, all these setbacks are being met. The closest setback is 145 feet. It's, well over 115 feet more than what it would need to be off of that property line. I did note the reason for the structure height is referenced in staff review item 1B. In 1C, aside from the height, all other applicable dimensions of the storage structure appear to be in conformance with the R1 zoning district standards and those set forth in Article 7. Other than the height, Article 7, Section 711.5 is where we see that the accessory structure shall not exceed 20 feet in height as measured from the finished grade to peak of structure. As I noted earlier, the applicants indicated the chariot has specific dimensions that are a result of the construction specifications in accordance with the religious scriptures. And that is what the applicant indicated influenced the chariot, the building design. And the other thing that would be of note related to all this is the applicant seeking to keep the chariot in good condition out of inclement weather. In terms of page 4, the items that the board needs to find affirmatively on with respect to conditional for a variance are from Article 4, Section 431, Item 5, and you have items A through G to basically make findings on. And so those are the items that you would ultimately rest your decision on, And your motion is gonna be either to approve with modifications, table with specifications as to what you'd be tabling the case for, or to deny with findings as why you want to deny the application. And again, the variance request is for a 6'3" height variance to allow the overall height to be 26'3" instead of 20 feet. In terms of the recommended modifications, I paused here. Recommended modifications, as I noted earlier, the emergency access area needs to be an emergency access area. The pictures I'm showing you right now are different than the pictures I would have shown you yesterday or any other day before this, because when I put the report together, I contacted the representative that I've been talking to at the Hindu temple, and as part of that, I had told them they needed to address the falling sign, the vegetation that was there, the falling materials on the wall there that you'll see here in a minute,
On the right.
and to have the gate closed and compliant with the previous conditions. So this is a picture looking at the end of Cloudy Road, southeast towards the gate. All the vegetation that was here on the left, overgrowing the wall, has been removed. This is looking slightly to the right. You can see the public hearing sign. So there's a portion of the wall here where some things have fallen off what appears to be the top. Actually, you thought it was the bottom initially. And I think the applicant's working to address that. I think they're looking to pick these up, maybe either to put them back up and or just remove them and perhaps paint. I'm not 100% sure the applicant can address that. The gate has the applicants prior to the meeting indicated they have a Knox box, but apparently they don't have a key. And so the chain, what I've seen the times that I've been out there is this chain wrapped around the lock with 1 or 2 padlocks, and it's, you know, whether or not they're being locked all the time or not is, I guess, part of the question that the staff has been trying to address. And then one of the signs was removed because it was falling down, but the posts are still there. So if there's not gonna be a replacement sign, the posts really need to be removed before this gate. And then on the gate, you know, in my opinion, and I expressed this to one of the applicant reps, this sign should be changed to say, please use 720 barge salt entrance or something to that effect, because the way it's worded, it makes it seem like this is another access, you know, like the gate's not necessarily always closed. This is the other picture that we took this is the very end of Cloudy Road. If you're familiar with Cloudy Road, the last, I don't know, half a mile or mile is very different than the rest of the road, where there's curb and gutter. It gets really narrow, maybe about 14 to 16 feet wide. And this is the very end. And the site where the new building is basically kind of in this area here in the middle. You just can't see it because of the line of trees and vegetation that's there. And the people that live here at the very end, you know, live back here. You have to hang a left, and they live over basically to would be I don't know what direction it is offhand, northeast, I think. So in short, some of the conditions that we have, or some of the modifications we had, have never been addressed, and those items really need to happen regardless of the outcome of the decision of the board, because those were things that should have happened even in the prior hearings. I have had people talk to me about the case, and we did receive one written comment from the neighbors that abut the property directly where this new building is, and that's the Morrises. And I forwarded that to the board here when we received it. And other than that, we have no written comment that we've received. Any questions?
Does that need to be read into the,
We can read it, or we can, whatever your pleasure is.
I think we should read that.
Yeah.
Read it in, please.
Read it in? Okay. Do you want me to go back to a particular slide for the time being? Like that one, or this one, maybe?
Sure, that one will work.
That one? So this is dated August 28, 2025, to Union Township Board of Zoning Appeals. And it's from Randy Morris and Elaine Morris. We received a township notice that a public hearing will be held on September 4, 2025 pertaining to a variance request filed by the Hindu Society of Cincinnati. Thank you for the opportunity to express our thoughts on this variance request. Unfortunately, our schedule will not allow us to appear in person, so we are submitting it to you in writing in advance of the meeting. Our property at 4907 Claddy Road abuts the property owned by the Hindu Society. The commercial development permit date, which this is not a commercial development permit, it's a zoning permit, not necessarily commercial, of 8/27/24 was granted for a structure of 480 square feet, 1 story tall with a maximum height of 22 feet. Instead, a structure was built that increased the area to approximately 720 square feet and to a height of 26 foot 3 inches. This changes the result. These changes result in a structure that is 50% more than the original square footage and 19% taller in height. I'll pause there. The height difference is actually like 30-something%, like 31. And the square footage and the dimensions, according to the zoning inspector, he measured it twice, they're the same dimensions that we approved it for. So there really isn't a difference on that particular number, and the other number they gave us was low. Zoning certificate 13991 states failure to abide by approved plans shall result in revocation of this permit. Changing the approved original plans to the actual structure that was built and is in violation of the permit. The decision to build the structure 50% larger and 19% taller was a deliberate course of action. The lack of regard for the approved development permit and site plan is not acceptable. We request the variance request be denied in order to maintain the integrity and fairness that the Board of Zoning Appeals provides. Kind regards, with their names.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the board?
No, I think I'm good.
Is there anybody here to speak in favor of this proposal? Come up here, speak your name and spell it.
I am Rajkumar, Rajkumar. That's my last name.
And your address.
4790 Imperial Drive, Liberty Township, Butler County, Ohio.
This testimony you're about to give is truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Just to introduce myself, I am a retired professor from Miami University, and I've been there for the past 32 years. I've also been a member of the Hindu Society here, and a member of the temple for the last close to 30 years now. And I've been, for the purposes of this project, I've been working primarily as the project manager, and I'm representing it from that perspective. Okay? Okay. So what I would like to go through today is to talk a little bit about what a chariot is, and the need for a storage building for storing that chariot for us. Then I want to look at, you already saw the site plan, I was going to show the site plan. You already saw the site plan, and then talk a little bit about the zoning application, since the letter that came from the Morrisons state that we are in violation of it, and I want to point out it was an inadvertent mistake and not an intentional mistake. Okay? It was completely an innocent mistake that was made. Okay? Then I would come down to the actual variance request, why we need this variance, and lastly address what Mark has already addressed to some extent about the requirements, the cleanings that we did, and close up with a summary where we talk about all the conditions that you have for section 431. Okay? Next slide. Okay. So basically a chariot for the Hindu people is that it is a temple on wheels. It's a mobile temple. And so it's really, it's mobile, so we take it within the temple grounds during festivals. And currently we are doing this roughly once a year. So it's not repeated very often. At this point in time, it's once a year. And the temple, the chariot itself, since it's considered a temple, has very specific conditions that are laid out in the scriptures. This chariot is carved out of wood and has some intricate wood carvings on it, and has a platform to store the deity, which we take out in a procession. And the platform should be tall enough for our priest to stand. So that's why when you saw the picture earlier, so if you could go down to the next slide. One more. So if you see this picture, this is the platform, and there's a deity in there, and we have a priest, and this is the procession from last year. Okay, this is an image from the procession from last year. As we have already seen, this height is around 7 feet, this height is around 6 feet, and this height is 6.5 feet, is all constructed as per our scriptures. And so this is a completely new chariot, and we have had an old chariot, which was a makeshift chariot that we have been using in the previous years. So this is a new chariot that we have got last year, and so since it's all based out of wood, poplar and maple wood, we need a structure to store it safely. Go to the next slide. Okay. So I wanted to show you where we take the chariot in procession. The chariot is currently here, stored here in the open area. We bring it out here, and during the festival, we take it along this road and make our way back here. We do not go to Clatty Road at all. We are completely within the premises, and there is no reason for us to affect any traffic at Clatty Road because all our traffic comes in from Vauxhall Front Road. Okay? So this actually occurred, we had a second run of this festival 2 weeks ago. Okay? And we get around, last year we got 800 people, this year we think we got somewhere around 500 people coming into it. It is pulling the chariot and taking it in procession for a lot of Hindus is considered going on the path to self-enlightenment, because this temple, the deity on the temple, is supposed to remove the obstacles for you to travel on the path to self-enlightenment. So it's a very important function for our devotee base, and it is something that we would like to continue to have and not be deprived of. Next slide. Okay. So as we said, the primary reason is to help prevent damage to the chariot from snow and wind and rain. And since it's all completely made of wood, so we wanted to store the chariot in a safe and secure place. And that's why we asked for it. We have no other planned usage. At the max, we will store some tools or equipment that go with the chariot, and nothing else. Next slide. Okay, this has already been shown, so there is our site placement is here, and we don't need to go over it since Mark has already gone over it. So this is what happened when we first came in to the zoning application. We were asked to fill everything. We filled everything except the height and the number of stories on the structure. Okay, that's our initial zoning application. If you go to the next slide, you'll see the cost for it. So what happens is when we asked for the chariot to be built, we contracted out to American Steel Carports. They are the shed to be storage building to be built. They are the vendors, and we gave them two specs. One was we told them we wanted actually a 20 by 20 because that's all we thought we wanted for the flooring, and we said we needed an height entrance of 21 feet because the chariot itself is 19.5 feet. And so we wanted some clearance at the top so that we can pull the chariot in and out safely from the storage building. Okay? So American Cast Steel, in turn, custom design for us. The second requirement we had was that we wanted a garage rolling door to pull down to close it. Okay. So those are the only two requirements we gave. So American Car Steel came up, they said that they come up with a design, and it was designed by a professional engineer, and they gave, in their engineering drawings, a 24 by 20 by 22 leg height. I am now told, I've learned since subsequently after that this is the way engineering drawings are specified. It's the leg height that's specified, not the roof height. And this is what was in the cover page. So if you go down to the next page, this is the page 2 of the blueprint, and that's where the entire 26 feet 3 inches is shown. So when we went to the zoning commission, zoning office, we took the entire set of blueprints, but the cover page was it. The cover page was the person who helped us saw the cover page, took the 22 feet, and we didn't catch the error. I was there, and I didn't catch the error. That's simply the honest mistake we made. Okay? The same set of prints were then sent to the building, for the building permit office, and we did get the building permit approved, and they knew it was 26 feet 3 inches. At no point anybody told us, till we had completed, that we were in violation. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. So I want to point out that it's a purely error in transcription from drawing to permit. It was not, it was an inadvertent mistake. Okay? What we left out was that the roof height of 4 feet 3 inches was needed to, if you could go down to the next one, was needed to accommodate the roof trusses. Okay? We already said we needed a chariot. We have a chariot height of 19.5. We have an entrance height of 21. So the engineer designed it with a leg height of 22 feet. We have these trusses to support the roof. So this is just to even out the weight of the roof so that the snow weight doesn't, snow or rain weight, it can hold the snow or rain weight. And they decided a leg height to rooftop height of 4 feet 3 inches, which gave us the entire height of 26 feet 3 inches. Okay? So it was completely a professional design. It's not something that we modified the design of the storage building at any point in time. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So that's what this is a diagram you've seen, 766.5, and this 26.3 feet. This 22 feet 10 inches is the eave height, and this entrance height is 21. They actually, though we asked for a 20 by 20, they felt they couldn't do a 20 by 20 with the required roof sloping, and so they asked us to go to a 24 by 20. That's how we ended up with a 24 by 20 building. Okay. Next slide. Okay. So, but we do realize now, at that point we were not aware, but we do realize now we were in violation. The maximum height for accessory building is 20 feet. But a height of 20 feet does not allow the chariot to be pulled in safely. Also, if it's if we don't have that height, if we don't store it in a storage building, over a period of time, with the weather, inclement weather, it will become structurally weak. Since we are storing it in the front of the temple, it can create problems to our own devotees that come into the temple. So we are kindly requesting for a variance of 6 feet 3 inches in this application. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. So this is we have seen. We are just wanting to show you that we have been working on the modifications that Mark has already alluded to. One of the things I want to show you is we do have, one of the requirements both in the 21 and so on was that be a Knox box lock, but if you go to the next slide, this Knox box lock has been there at our gate since 2001. Okay? Unfortunately, that was hidden behind the shrubs, and so I was not aware of it, and we don't, so we didn't know it was there. When he asked me, I could respond to him that it was already existing. But it's been there, and as far as the other things, we are working with as soon as we got this letter from Mark, we got it last Wednesday, I forwarded it to our executive committee, and we have our vice president of EC here. We forwarded to our executive committee, and they are working on trying to help resolve the rest of the issue with Mark. Okay? So let's go to the summary page. So as I said, we request a variance of 6 feet 3 inches to store the chariot safely. All the setbacks are adequate, and we are not traveling on Clary Road at all. We are traveling only within the premises, and so there should be no impact on Clary Road. And as a matter of fact, as Mark said, its visibility is only when you come into the temple. It's not visible. The storage structure is not visible from anywhere from Clary Road that we could see as we drove by. Okay? There is no detriment or danger to the public, as chariot is used only within the premises, and the structure usage is only for storage. No other usage is being contemplated. We are not requesting any special privilege. We are requesting that a 6 feet 3 inches be given, since 20 feet height does not meet the ability to store the chariot safely. Okay? And it is the minimum needed, because that's how the professional union is designed. It's not something that we put in. We had only 2 requests in the design, and that's what they came up with. And so that's what we think it's a minimum that we need. And since we went through the zoning application, we went through the proper building application, we went through all the inspections. As a matter of fact, we did additional inspections in the building beyond what the building permit called for. We did soil, concrete, things that they did not ask for or were not required of the permit. And we have been trying to play completely by the rules. Okay? I would like to stop here and be able to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, any questions of the board?
I would just like to say one thing, because clearly you're worried about it. No one here thinks there was any deception intended.
Okay.
So please put your mind to ease
Because
on
that letter said that,
Okay.
kind of said that, and I
Right.
wanted to make sure that there was.
Right, no, I understand. And we don't think that.
Okay, thank you.
I guess the only other thing I want to ask, you don't intend to down the road have any kind of ventilation, heating, or anything in there?
Currently, we don't have any electric power into that.
Okay,
We are planning to put, just because we need to operate, if we put a garage door, it's 21 feet height. We are planning to just use a mobile power generator if we have to.
okay.
But we haven't yet selected a door provider, we haven't done.
With the generator, don't forget that'll have noise, so.
It's only we are operating it 2 or 3 days of the year. We are not operating it multiple times.
And then my other question was, just out of curiosity, the height, is there any way that the chariot itself could be, the roof of it modified?
No, this
know
has
what?
already been designed, and, we got this, it was designed, it's been designed as per the scriptures. It's not something that,
Right.
there is a specific type of person. There are only few people that can design these.
Gotcha.
And there's one person in Canada that helped design this for us.
Okay.
And he came in and assembled it. So it was partly manufactured in India, partly manufactured in Canada, assembled here in this place.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
curious.
We were just wondering if the very top, the rounded top there with the, if it
So-
would have been possible for that to be removable for a lower height and then put back on, that we were curious.
That's not, it's, as far as I know, it's not, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
When they did it, they used, every time they did it, they used some kind of a scissor lift or something, not a scissor lift. Yeah, they use some kind of a crane, and we
Okay.
definitely cannot remove that.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know. We have been removing that very top piece, so there's a small piece, but we are worried every time we go up there that somebody will fall. Okay? Because even the crane doesn't go there, and we are extremely worried that somebody will fall and will be liable for it. Though we have gone twice and removed it, simply because if you leave it out in the open, over a longer period of time, it's pointed at the top, it can attract lightning.
Got the little very, very top piece.
Yes, it's what we
Yeah.
call the pumum.
Looks like it's about
Yeah.
that big around, maybe
Yeah,
about that
it's
tall.
about 1 feet, I think.
Yeah, I see it I took pictures of it today when I was out there.
Yeah, we don't want to leave it out in the open because it's pointed at the top, and as you know, lightning, it attracts lightning,
Okay.
and it can break the structure.
So now you actually, it is pulled during celebrations via the rope?
Yes,
Or
via
via-
a rope.
By rope?
Via a rope. It's pretty
Yes.
easy to pull.
Yeah.
Is because on a traditional chariot, typically, completely traditional chariot, the wheels are wooden, but we kept it with a regular tire wheels, vehicle tires.
You've gone liberal.
Gone a little bit
Kidding.
liberal.
I'm kidding.
We got a little bit liberal.
little
We actually have a braking mechanism on it. I'm sorry. We've got a little bit liberal, but the design of the base itself, and the platform,
Yeah,
which
that-
are the crucial parts.
That
you
was
know.
only a joke. That wasn't meant to be offensive.
I have a question. So the width of the structure is 24
Yeah.
feet. It's 20 feet deep.
Yes.
The garage door is 22 feet.
The garage door is 21 feet.
Okay, well, how
The
will
entrance
it,
is 21 feet.
how will it not, it comes up a track and goes to the back of the garage. How does something that's 21 feet cover that distance
Does it
without?
roll? It must,
Does it
is the
roll?
door going to be a rolling door?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the door is going to be a rolling door like a regular
Yeah.
garage door. So
When it
you
goes
see
to
in
the
one of
very
these
top, it'll completely keep rolling in on itself versus going all the way back.
That's why we need that 4 feet 3 inches above the 22
Yeah,
feet.
because
Like,
once it rolls up, it's going to be pretty, the diameter is pretty big.
yeah, that's why we
All
needed
right.
that 4 feet 3 inches. We gave that specific.
That's what I
We are
thought.
currently about 6, when we ask for someone, quotes from the garage door people, we are about just 6 inches gap. So it's pretty tight, but we can do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Is there anybody else to speak in favor of this proposal? Is there anybody to speak against this proposal? Come up one at a time. Raise your right hand, say your name, spell your last name,
Cody Moore, M-O-O-R-E,
and your address.
4868 Clatty Road.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay. Again, my name's Cody Moore. I've lived at 4868 Clatty Road. I lived on that property my entire life for 40 years. So I'm very familiar with this situation. Mr. Ford, Mr. Kangro, Mr. Jenk, Mr. Walker, and Mr. McAdams, we come before you today asking that you review the zoning code, facts, and evidence presented and rule accordingly. We are here because once again, our neighbors, the Hindu Society of Greater Cincinnati, cannot follow the rules. If they could, we would not be here talking about this case. Facts are, a variance was granted in 2016 when case number 8-16-A was before this very board. The transcripts read that, quote, Mr. Jenk moved to approve the applicant's request for conditional use in case number 8-16-A to construct a 2-story temple wing addition onto the existing temple for the purpose of adding kitchen storage, chariot storage, an expanded deities wing on the north side of the structure, and to include an access drive to the lower level of the north wing expansion, as submitted, incorporating the following additional modifications. 1, the primary and principal access point for the Hindu temple shall be determined to be from Bark Salt Road, with the gate located along Claddy Road permanently closed, secured through electronic gate mechanism/codes and knockbox lock, to be utilized only by fire and police emergency responders and designated on the plans as emergency access only. Number 2, the access drive to the lower level of storage area shall be paved in conjunction with the proposed construction project. Number 3, building elevations, colors, and materials shall match the construction of the existing temple and shall be subject to administrative review and approval. Number 4, all construction equipment shall enter through the Bark Salt Run Road entrance only. Number 5, modifications, number 1, as stated herein, shall be done prior to the issuance of the zoning permit for the project. Mr. Ford seconded the motion, end quote. Roll call was taken and the motion carried with all 5 board members voting unanimously to approve the motion. Unfortunately, the Hindu Society of Greater Cincinnati did not follow through with the conditions of the variance. They obviously did not build what they asked for because we are here considering a chariot storage building which was supposed to be incorporated into the wing expansion. The gate located along Claddy Road was supposed to be permanently closed, secured through electronic gate mechanisms or codes and a knockbox lock, to be utilized only by fire and police emergency responders and designated on the plans as emergency access only. This condition to date has still not been completed, and the gate/fence has fallen into disrepair with overgrown vegetation, areas of block walls falling down, and the paint faded. But once again, you are asked to act on yet another variance due to the Hindu Society of Greater Cincinnati's lack of ability and unwillingness to follow the rules. The facts: an accessory permit was asked for, which they completed. The permit was approved and issued. The building, when constructed, does not match the permit that was asked for and granted. Hence, the need for yet another variance, case number 1-25-A. The township has zoning rules and regulations that must be followed to prevent situations like this. The Hindu Society of Greater Cincinnati has always claimed that they want to be good neighbors. The neighbors on Claddy Road want to be good neighbors, but we are currently being disadvantaged. Our request is simple. Please respect our neighborhood where we all live every day. Claddy Road is too narrow for a thoroughfare, and when used as such, provides an unsafe condition for all of us, especially our children. Please comply with the previous variance conditions before asking for yet another one. We respectfully ask the board to table this case until all the conditions from case number 08-16A can be completed before entertaining this variance, case 1-25-A. Thank you.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Any questions of the board? Okay, is there anybody else in favor? I mean opposed to this? Come on up. State your name, spell your last name,
Timothy Campbell, Campbell,
and your address.
4893 Claddy.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So I want to react a little bit to what we heard on those that were in support. I think what I heard was that they had a makeshift chariot that would have fit in a structure that would have met code. They then built a custom chariot that was too big to fit into a structure that would fit code. And what you're going to hear with the rest I have to say today is my experience. I'm 62 years old. I grew up on Claddy Road. For all but 5 years, I lived on Claddy Road. So I've seen this whole thing play out for years. And there's a theme. They get a variance, they do what they want to do, and then they ask for changes because they don't do what they say they were going to do. This is just another example of that. They built a chariot, had it custom built, too big. They didn't have to do that. So now it's an emergency that we all have to react to. Biggest part is they didn't consider the zoning when they did it. They just built it. I saw a mystery lockbox. I'm right across the street from that fence. I've never seen a lockbox. It must be in the trunk of a car somewhere because I've never seen this box. It's been there since 2001. there's a box that's in somebody's trunk. And then noise, small issue, because we're not against their rituals. We're happy for them to do what they do, right? But when they're having their processions, it sounds like the Ohio State Marching Band. It's a drum beat that happens for hours and hours and hours. I want to switch to my prepared statement, because I think the approach with the Hindu Society of Greater Cincinnati should change a little bit. I kind of took a legal perspective of what I'm seeing, right? So I'm going to read a little bit of this. First, I'm not sure why we're here today, because the variance that they had to build the structure was conditional. They've not met the conditions. And because they haven't met the conditions, there's no lawful variance. So the 2016 variance has not been met. They don't have the right to have that building. And frankly, the building that they have constructed should be red tagged, because that building doesn't meet the codes. It meets the variance, and there's a building permit that was given, but it was conditional, and the conditions haven't been met. The township's enforcement of that is different, right? So you guys are the zoning board. So we've got also issues with the township and enforcement. So they've not enforced the fact that this knockbox is not on that gate, and they use that gate. That's not your issue, that's the township's issue. And we'll cover that with the township. Now what happens typically is when we get to this position, the lawyers start coming in. And they start arguing First Amendment and RLU, IPI, land use. They start arguing, making those arguments, right? So if you have the drawing that shows Claddy Road and Bark Salt Run Road, what you'll see is they're in parallel. They are parallel to each other. And when they built the Claddy Road, when they built the Bark Salt Road entrance, they took some shortcuts that made the entrance come in from the south. What you're going to hear is an argument that says the deities have to be structured east to west. So they want to use Claddy Road because it has a more eastern kind of approach to the building. But they did that. They could have made the Bark Salt Run Road have a west to east kind of facing, but they chose not to do it. All these become emergency situations that bring in lawyers that have a bunch of argument for it on things that they did for themselves. I found House Bill 315 that was passed in June of this year. I don't know if you guys are familiar with House Bill 315. House Bill 315 gives the township additional enforcement support. I'll read you a piece and how I think it applies. The temple ignored its 2016 variance conditions for nearly a decade. Under House Bill 315, the township now has clear authority and responsibility to enforce compliance through civil penalties and court action. This isn't something that's optional. They were required to do it. To grant a new variance today would reward noncompliance and undermine the very powers the legislature gave township to protect themselves. This is Exhibit A. I mean, this is just right down the middle of the plate on why that House bill was introduced and passed in June of this year. I have to add this. Don't let them bully you, right, with these legal arguments, because that's what we've seen in the past, right? They bring the lawyers in, they start these bully tactics, and nobody wants a room full of lawyers because it's expensive for everybody. But it has to stop, right? And frankly, the way I believe it has to stop is some aggression on the other side to say, we have the right to red tag your temple because the temple is not inside of code. You asked for a variance, you got it, but you're not in compliance. That's been true for 9 years. The township hasn't enforced it, but that doesn't prove it. So we have different issues with the township, we'll cover the township, but they have to enforce the zoning. Finally, I'll just touch on this, and you guys probably won't see it, you might, depending on where the lawyers go with it. I look stuff up, I read, right? So there was something in the public record from their attorney basically saying that they didn't agree or they didn't approve the conditions. They never agreed that Claddy Road entrance should be knockboxed because they need to approach the temple from the west to east, and that's the way they would do it. So the religious rights says they should be able to use that entrance. So I looked it up. There's no explicit religious mandate. Same way on the little buggy, right? So that the chariot. That chariot didn't have to be built that tall. It could have been built shorter. They chose to do that. There are many examples of temples that don't have west to east facing deities. And some of them in India, some of them in the US. It's also not a religious mandate. They're going to argue that it is. I can't find examples where it is. And then I think our biggest point, or my biggest point, and I think Cody said it well, public safety should trump all of this, right? That road is dangerous. I'll give you an example. Again, my wife and I have been there forever. We watched the whole thing being built. We're walking our little dog down Clatty Road. We got our backs facing the two-lane Clatty Road. It goes to one lane really fast. We got our backs to it. We're walking. We do this, I try every evening. And a car just comes flying by us. It's an all-electric. We didn't hear it. This guy's doing 40 miles an hour, and he just comes whipping by us on the right. I mean, it was like this. That guy was flying. And we all have examples of this, right? So, and you'll find in the temple signs that say, hey, be careful with your driving because the police are watching. It's like, that's not what neighbors do. I mean, what you should put up is, be careful. Your neighbor's children are playing out there, right? Not cops are watching. That's really all I have. We have lots of examples. The other one I like to say is, I bet I put in 15 mailboxes. They knock them off there all the time. I mean, I finally got one in with an 8x8. Now I hope they hit it. So that's all I got.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How late at night does that noise?
Oh, it's not even that big a deal. But somebody was asking a question about the generator noise. That's nothing compared to the drums. It's usually on a weekend, like 11 to 1. So we put up with stuff like that. I mean, we get their religious rights, and we don't want to be in the middle of that.
11 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon?
Yeah, in that.
Okay.
It feels like it's a wedding that's happening,
Okay.
or, whatever. Everybody's dressed up. The chariot's beautiful. I mean, all that's true. So, and frankly, I support all that. It's just that gate's got to be closed.
Okay. Anybody else have a question?
I don't have a question. I did just want to thank you for recognizing the limits of our power
Yeah.
in this body.
I think the
Yeah.
frustration here is the same that is recognized by others.
I was hoping to send a message that says, I guess how I'm challenging you is how can you approve a variance to a variance that's in violation? You shouldn't even be considering
And I
it.
think we have questions on that ourselves.
Okay. I know you have jobs better than I do. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Right.
you.
Anybody else speak against? Come on up. Have you filled out one of those papers? Yes, sir. Okay. Raise your right hand. State your name and spell your last name.
My name is Jerry Hunterlaw, Honerlaw. I live at 4894 Clatty Road, which is the property line to my house is to the west of their property.
Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
My problem is, again, is Tim had just talked about, in the past, there's been problems, and there's been problems with the zoning and all those kind of things. They do what they want to do. They ask for whatever, and they do whatever they want to do. I've been building houses for over 50 years. I've never built a house that the product that was going to go in it wouldn't fit. Something doesn't make sense. They're not dumb people. And if they knew what the regulations were from the get-go, in 2016, when they were supposed to add on to the temple to start with, they should have known that that wouldn't fit, and they should have been able to get their chariot reduced in size, plain and simple. Again, they don't care. Now, with my house being right next door, my driveway is parallel to their property line, just down from their gate. I have to have 2 sawhorses on either side of my driveway that says private property, keep out, because my driveway is 700 and some feet long. Well, they'll come down to the temple, it's locked, so they come, here's the road to the temple. They come down to my driveway, they don't bother to turn around on a drive turnaround, they pull up in my front yard, turn around, and out they go. I even had one of them, there's a small culvert there, that ran off the culvert, tore up the yard, have no idea who he was. They don't care about anything but themselves. I've been there, as I said, I've been there 30 years, and when they've had some of their parties before the gate was permanently closed, or somewhat permanently closed, they would have their parties and they would park all over the place, and they come down and they're walking along with their drinks and all that kind of stuff, throw the stuff in the yard. They don't care. They pull up in the yard, you know, they have no respect for what we have worked our tails off to have. And it's time to bring them under control, plain and simple. And you know, you talk to the lawyers and all that kind of stuff, but we can get lawyers too, plain and simple. We have the right to get lawyers too. I don't ever want to see that. It's the last thing I want to do. But the point being is, they have to be brought under control. They've got to do what they said they're going to do, how they say they're going to do it, and when they say they're going to do it. Period. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Any questions from the board? Okay, is there anybody else to speak against? Raise your right hand, say your name and spell your last name.
Clark Moore, M-O-O-R-E,
And your address.
4864 Claddy Road.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
My only comment is, when they mentioned about that lockbox being there since 2001, it wasn't more than 2 or 3 weeks ago when they had their festival, they opened the gate down there and let all the traffic that came in on Bark Salt out on Claddy Road. So to say that they somehow have a lockbox there and no one uses anyway, I just want to make that comment to be clear that if they inferred that somehow that gate was being locked all the time, it's not. Thank you.
Any questions of the board? Okay, thank you. Anybody else to speak against? Okay, hearing none. Any questions from the board? Discussion.
Can I ask a question of Mark?
Yes.
I don't know, in the 12 or 13 years that I've been doing this, is it possible to table a case for 30 days to allow them to attempt to become compliant to the conditions that were previously set?
Yeah, I mean, I
In
think
our case?
that's something that could be done.
And then we make a decision on this case? I don't know if the board has any inclination to that, but if the previous conditions are not met, there's no reason we should even
I
consider
agree.
this.
I agree.
I do too. Is there, can we add to that? Evidently, there's a real concern with that entrance of into Claddy or whatever.
That's one of the conditions.
That's
How
one of the
could-
conditions.
Right.
Okay, but what I'm getting at is, how can we make that, I'm trying to think, other than a chain on the thing, it's supposed to have an electronic open and close.
Well, it was either an electronic or a knock box,
Knox
correct?
box.
Well, I did see a Knox, something that said Knox box in the wall, and whether there's a key there or not, who knows? But that would be, if the fire department or the police department, I have no idea if they have a key, and if it was hidden behind all the brush, then, I mean, no one would even know it was there.
So what I heard right before the meeting is that they found that they had a box, was what the gentleman who spoke earlier had told me. And I think what's happened is the temple doesn't have a key itself anymore. I don't know whether the township does or not, but if the temple doesn't have a key, I think that's probably prompting or creating a circumstance for them to leave it unlocked because they don't have a key and they're still wanting to use it, right? So,
Right, but I'm trying to figure out how can we assure, or close to assure,
so in
that
another,
someone can't.
That's what he needs to
That's
go.
what the inspector does.
in other situations where we have emergency accesses, I mean, I've been dealing with emergency accesses for a long time now. I have dealt with Knox boxes before on a few other cases, including one in Union Township. Usually the Knox box is, keyed or either coded according to the community. So that way, if the fire and EMS people need to get there, their one key or code is universal. So, one thing is like whatever they're doing out there, even if they weren't using a Knox box. It has to be something that the fire and EMS people have access to and consider to be appropriate, right?
Well, based on that Knox box that's there, it was 91, or 2001, or?
2001.
2001, I would recommend they get a new one, because if that thing was hidden behind, who knows if it's even operational?
Yeah, I mean, so,
or rusted.
I mean, it's to table an application to try to address an ongoing enforcement issue before making a decision is one of the things even one of the people in the public spoke about as an option. And, in the report that I drafted, I mean, my feeling on having dealt with enforcement cases a lot of times, and I've been in court on hundreds of cases over the years with my prior job, and was very insistent that if we had an issue that had to be addressed, we would not issue any other permits on a property until the issue was addressed, unless the issuance of the permit would in part help address the issue, right? So in this case, the issuance of the permit that we're talking about, or the variance, is not gonna address the issue that we're talking about that should have already been addressed. So it is an option for the board to consider, tabling the request to give the applicant the time and the means to try to take care of the issues that needed to be addressed as outlined in 16 and 21, and perhaps even in other times, but definitely those two periods. Even if that's not the case, even if the board would find otherwise, we're still gonna make sure that that condition is gonna be addressed. So, whether or not you want to, as a part of this case, entertain tabling it or not is up to you. We're gonna address the access on Clatty Road regardless. It's just a matter of how long that's gonna take to accomplish, and whether or not you have other things other than the gate restricted access as a part of the previous things that have been discussed and what's been highlighted in the staff report as a concern or not. I mean, it does seem that the main issue is limiting the access for emergency purposes.
Am I understanding that I was there today, the chain and the lock that's on there now, do our emergency personnel have a key to open that?
They look like padlocks, so I would say it's unlikely that the fire and police people will have a padlock key.
Okay.
And in general, even if they do, it's not a long-term acceptable thing,
Right, right.
to address that situation that way.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
they comply with what they have.
Yes, sir.
Yes, come
Yeah,
back up.
come on up. You're still under oath.
Yes, sir. I know that the Senior Society of Greater Cincinnati has grants to improve security from the state. And this electronic lock gate mechanism, they're trying to roll it into that grant and see if that can help address. So we are working on an electronic lock gate. We do have codes for it. This is all came up after the letter, right? So they're trying to roll it into that. There is some, I am not privy to the whole thing, but there was a grant specifically addressed for improving the security to the compound.
I'm guessing there are probably several committees and working groups
Yes.
involved at the temple.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm one subcommittee
Yes.
of a big committee.
yes, I understand. I pastor a church. We have more committees than we need. It takes 15 times as long to make a decision, and when we make it, they forgot who brought it up to begin with and what we're doing about it.
But I can tell you for a fact that I have seen the codes for the electronic lock gate.
Okay,
That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you whether
right.
it's being ordered or not.
Okay.
There.
Thank you.
Sir, do you have something? If you do, come up.
Thank you.
I
I
had a
appreciate
question.
it.
Oh, you have a question for
I
him?
have a question. Can you have your subcontractor that was there at some period of time? When I went today, there was beer cans, there was trash, there was, all kinds of debris. I have pictures of it on my camera. and to pick up as they go, so that it doesn't blow into other people's yards and become unsightly. And secondly, the other thing that I have is I noticed that, you're putting cameras now on that back gate?
Yeah,
Okay, what was the purpose of those?
I think it's part of the security, improvement to the security of the temple.
It's for what now?
Security, to improve the
Security.
security of the temple itself.
Okay. They're license plate readers.
I don't know, I really don't know.
I-
Do you have any?
If-
I have
if-
no knowledge of what it's being used
If you
for.
look on the bottom of the camera, it says license plate reader. That's where I got that, so I assumed that that's what it is.
I'm unaware.
So why would you, I'm just asking, why would you need the license plate reader if you're not using the gate? And I know you don't know. It just doesn't make sense why you would spend the money on equipment that you're not going to use.
I'm sorry, sir, I
Yes.
have no answer to this. So
Okay, no, that's fine.
I'm completely
Okay.
ignorant of the issue. Yeah. So apparently, what I'm hearing is that he was part of the EC a year ago. So what I'm hearing is that we are working with the police department, and they were suggesting what cameras to use and where.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Come on up, sir. And remember, you're still under oath.
So they don't know, I know. Live right across the street. There've been workers in there for the last couple of weeks, almost every day. Ever really since you put the sign up, so clean it all up. I don't know exactly what that's all about, but they're running electric, they're running cameras, and they're running a license plate reader. I suspect they're intending to read those license plates, and depending on what the license plate reader says, automatically open the gate. So cameras are cheap. So what we intend to do is mount a camera on my brother's garage that faces that gate, directly across from that gate, and we'll just watch it. We'll film it, we'll record it. But I think what they said here today is a security-only issue. So if somebody's trying to jump the gate, or kids playing pranks, or whatever it is, totally support all that. But if the purpose for a license plate reader is to open that gate, when this committee has said that gate's for emergency purposes only, it's part of the variance for the original approval, that puts them, frankly, in contempt of that. All of that should be red tagged. Everything should be red tagged. So, and I think the enforcement group has that with House Bill 315. We'll mount some cameras. So we can report back of what's happened with that gate. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir, come on up. You've been sworn in? Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to make something very clear. The chain and the lock on the gate are completely fake. It's just two padlocks on a chain that's wrapped around the gate. You can take it right off and open the gate anytime you want. There has never been an attempt to secure that gate by the Hindu temple. I promise you. The police and fire don't know the codes. They couldn't get, nobody's opened that knockbox since 2001. So I'm just saying, like, any attempt that's stated here of they've tried to make an attempt to get something on that gate is a lie. Because right now I can walk up to it, and I can take that chain right off it and open up the gate, and that's exactly what they did 2 weeks ago when they routed all the traffic from Bark Salt right back down Claddy in front of our houses. And they do it every single festival. Thank you.
Come on up if you got something to say.
I just want to say, on the festivals I've been associated with, this is the 2 weeks ago when we pulled the chariot. The gate was closed. The gate, it's true that it only has it's wrapped up in a chain. The padlock is not locked. It's true.
Okay, while you're up here, I have a question. If you got a permit for 22 feet, why did you build it 26.3?
Sir, as I said, we didn't realize that we entered the wrong number. From our original drawings, we always had in our drawings 26 feet, 3 inches. From what I understand, the engineering specs on a cover always says the leg height and not the roof height. This is what I understand. I may be wrong, but it's my understanding.
Right.
And
I feel
so
like
the
there was a
roof,
major mistake made in the office
Yeah,
pertaining to this case.
I think so too.
it
But I'm
was,
still not interested in making a decision on the case
Okay, go
No,
ahead.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I agree.
Go ahead.
until.
and we did submit the entire drawings to the building department. We
Okay,
didn't submit the entire drawings to the zoning department. We took it with us,
There's no reason
and
they
they
can't
just
fix
looked
that
at
in
the
30 days,
cover page.
right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Is there any reason you can't get a chain and a new key and a box put in within 30 days
yeah,
We've,
start?
I say
And
table.
become compliant to
find out.
everything?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
You're ready? Okay, good.
Okay, make a motion on case 125A, in accordance with Article 4, Section 430, 431 of the zoning resolution, the Board of Zoning Appeals is to enter the motion to table until
such time.
that the plaintiff comes in compliance, in particular case 816A, and fulfills all requirements of the township.
Are there any other requirements from the previous case? I heard the case in 16, and I believe I was here for the one in 21.
I
There
think
were conditional
21.
uses in 2016, I believe, along with 21.
Right,
Is that correct?
yes.
So they just need to be in compliance with
All,
all conditional uses that were previously.
right.
Yes, correct.
So that would apply to 816A and 721A. And then we'll see if there's anything else that's applicable that we're not
Yeah.
aware of.
Right, and the other ones that they're not in compliance with.
Okay. You ready for a
I'll
roll call? or-
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been placed and seconded. Any discussion?
No?
No? Roll call.
Roll call. Mr. Walker,
Aye.
Mr. Cangro,
Aye.
Mr. Ford,
Aye.
Mr. McAdams,
Aye.
Mr. Jink.
Aye.
Motion passes. So this matter will be tabled until such time those items have been addressed. And if they are not addressed, or we don't have a time frame, we will report to the board, and at some point, if it remains a persistent issue, we will report to the board and have a discussion on what to do if we're having problems reaching resolution.
I
Good.
mean,
And if we have, when we have another public hearing, we will notify everybody and put the signs up like we did this time.
is there a time frame that we need to put on this?
We're gonna take a little break here for just a second.
Okay. You want to vote to go in recess or not?
We're just gonna, he's gonna get used to restroom.
Do we need to have a time frame for that, or can they just go until next year?
They can go, there was no time frame, and they gotta get everything in compliance before we deal with it.
No, but
The
should
new
we
one.
put a time frame on that?
I don't know.
Like, they could take 9 years.
Right,
They can't have 9 years to become compliant.
right.
Right.
I feel like there has to be I think we have to set a time.
You know, how about 30 to 60 days?
And then we rely on the
Huh?
inspector to, like, we're not the enforcer, we only make the decision, but I feel like there should be a time frame of some sort. I don't know how do we go back
And the fact is, you're gonna put that boogie
in 60 days?
in the thing.
We will have to make this
You know what I mean?
old business next week. We'll have to address it as old business.
All right.
And if we need to put some. Probably tonight.
Question was, hold on a second. Hold on a second. A question was raised by one of the board members is that, do we need to put a time limit on it?
Like they can't have 9 years to become compliant.
No, I think if it's not in the next month or two, because the deadline for the next meeting was today.
30 to 60 days.
Yeah, I would think it should be the next couple
Okay.
meetings.
Okay, you clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we'll probably need 60 days. Let me
60
be-
days.
let me be very honest.
Get them all done.
Yeah, you know, it'll definitely be 60 days.
Yeah.
So you're-
Yeah, maybe anything going slow.
So we're
Right.
gonna revisit this case
30 days is
November, December.
If
Okay.
it's going to be 30 days, I'm
before
not.
the end of the year.
All righty.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
we would
Thank
be,
you.
we would be aiming either for the November or December meeting. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. All right, next case.
Thank you, guys.
More than welcome.
So, we're gonna turn it over to Blake and let him do his first series
Okay.
of presentations
All right,
on-
Blake.
on these, and they're all gonna be pretty similar characters, so we'll, let him take it from here, and I'll be the keyboard warrior.
If the board has no objection, I think for sake of brevity, we can probably go over the first case in detail in terms of the report. Recognizing that the applicant is the same applicant for all three cases, same situations, same
Right.
resolution sections, so.
That's not a problem.
All right. So the case is 2-25A. The applicant is Eicholtz Investments. The site location for this case is 831 Massachusetts Drive. The parcel ID is present on the screen, and the zoning district that this property is located in is R1 Single Family Residential. The request of the applicant is a conditional use to allow for a bed and breakfast in an R1 residential district. This is in reference to Article 6, Section 612.5 of the zoning resolution. The proposed home in question is 2 stories. It's just over 2,000 square feet, and the entirety of the home would be dedicated to the use in question. And to note, the property includes a pool, which is enclosed by a fence. The location of the property, as noted, is at the intersection, southwest of the intersection at the corner of Redcoat Drive and Massachusetts Drive. We've addressed the zoning, which is R1. All adjacent properties are also R1. In terms of the background of this case, initially, the applicant, or initially, this case was brought forward to us by a compliance issue, by a neighbor complaint. The applicant addressed the complaint that was brought to the attention of the department staff, and since then, essentially, the applicant has been in discussion and cooperative with the planning and zoning department, and that has ultimately culminated in them applying for this conditional use request tonight. In terms of staff review and analysis, as noted earlier, just a moment ago, this case originated as a enforcement action, and it is subject to the following conditions outlined in section 612.5. Those conditions are: A, no more than 2 adults shall occupy each sleeping room. Children under 12 years of age are permitted in the same occupancy, provided that no more than 5 persons occupy one room. Point B, fire exit instructions shall be posted in each sleeping room. Point C, all applicable provisions of the fire code shall be met, and certification of such compliance by the appropriate official shall accompany the application. Point D, the facility shall be operated so that guests reside at home for not longer than 1 continuous week. Point E, the facility shall not contain more than 4 sleeping rooms for guests. So that's the first set of conditions that would need to be met in order to approve this case. And then in addition to that, meeting the standards set forth in section 442 of the zoning resolution, This pretty much states that the board may impose additional requirements with respect to location, construction, maintenance, and operation stated in the resolution. The board may also deem necessary for the protection of adjacent properties and public interest. Essentially, you guys may propose additional requirements in addition to those outlined previously. In addition to those standards for this conditional use, for the bed and breakfast conditional use, there are general standards for all conditional use requests, and those are the following. Point A, this would in fact be a conditional use that is established under the provisions of this resolution and appear on the schedule of district regulations adopted for the zoning district involved. This will be in accordance with the general objectives or with any specific objective of the township's comprehensive plan and or zoning resolution. Point C, it will be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained so as to be harmonious and appropriate in appearance with the existing or intended character of the general vicinity, and that such use will not change the essential character of the same area. Point D, it will not be hazardous or disturbing to existing or future neighboring uses. Point E, it will be served adequately by essential public facilities and services such as highways, streets, police, fire protection, drainage, structures, refuse disposal, water and sewer, and schools, or that the persons or agencies responsible for the establishment of the proposed use shall be able to provide adequately any such services. Point F, this will not create excessive additional requirements at the public cost for public facilities and services, will not be detrimental to the economic welfare of the community. Point G, this will not involve uses, activities, processes, materials, equipment, and conditions of operation that will be detrimental to any persons, property, or the general welfare by reason of excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glare, or odors. Point H, this will have vehicular approaches to the property, which shall be so designed as to not create an interference with traffic on surrounding public thoroughfares. Apologies. And point I, this will not result in the destruction, loss, or damage of the natural, scenic, or historic feature of major importance. Stepping away from that for the moment, as you can see, this is the site plan that the applicant has provided. You can see the general inclusion of the pool and the fence and the shed that were mentioned previously. These items generally appear to be in compliance with the Union Township zoning resolution. And then the items on the left, I'll address those in a second here. And then according to the applicant's statements and application enclosures, the applicant is providing guests with a set of rules and curfew / quiet hours in order to help maintain the quality of the neighborhood. So a lot of what I'm about to mention addresses some of those concerns and regulations mentioned previously. The applicant has indicated that there are 4 bedrooms and a maximum occupancy of 9 persons total for this house. The applicant has acknowledged that guests are screened and are instructed to respect the rules on the property and the neighborhood / community. All guest outdoor activity is monitored by security cameras. The applicant has noted that the home is professionally maintained. The character and design of the principal structure and accessory structures appear to reflect and complement adjacent residential uses in the area. And then the applicant has indicated that no industrial or commercial equipment, materials, or operations will occur on the site, and quiet hours are posted and in effect after 10 p.m. Action required by the board. In accordance with Article 4, Sections 441 through 445, the board's role in this process is to either enter into a motion to approve, modify, or deny the applicant's request for conditional use to allow for a bed and breakfast home in the R1 residential district, again, per Article 6, Section 612.5 of the zoning resolution. And lastly, to note, before showing some images of the site, on the screen. The staff have recommended additional, or the staff have indicated that additional modifications can be made to the length of time that a user can occupy the space. So I think right now it currently stands at 1 week, and this could be, if desired by the board, this could be modified. Looking at the site from on the projector, this is looking at the site from the southeast at the side of the property. As you can see, there's the fence is in good condition, and generally standards are maintained. Next slide. Again, looking south at the side of the property, you can see the existing conditions around the site. This is looking south at the front of the property. And once again, at the front of the property, looking at the front corner at the intersection of Massachusetts Drive and Redcoat Drive. This is the same intersection, but looking at the property from that intersection. And then this is moving to the side of the property that affronts Redcoat Drive. As you can see, there's the fence. The white fence is owned by the property. And then here is kind of an angle looking at the property. This is looking at the property from a northwest view. This is looking at the rear of the property. And once again, kind of a different angle of the same part of the property. And with that, do you have anything to add, Mark?
So I know one of the things that'll come up is the question, we've had individual members contact us or talk to the zoning inspector about, you know, the fact that there's a question of whether or not an Airbnb is really a bed and breakfast use. So when these came in, initially we found out because of the enforcement complaint, we found out we had an Airbnb at this location. Issue was addressed quickly, and speaking with the property owner, we found out he had 3 Airbnbs, and we told him, you know, basically these have to be done as a conditional use. I talked about the issue with our zoning inspector and with our township administrator, who, as you know, served in my position previously for about 16 years. And when the code doesn't specifically identify a use, you have 2 options. You either apply it, compare it and apply it in accordance with what's in the code that's the most similar thing you can use, or you can strictly say it's prohibited because it's not identified. Well, we have lots and lots of uses in the township, right? And we have lots and lots of uses in the township that are not in our code in any shape or form or fashion. And so when we talked about it internally, we felt that the best use designation that we could come up with to tie what they're proposing to do at this location and at the next 2 cases is to have bed and breakfasts. There is a difference. Currently in the code, there's an acknowledgement in the definition section about, you know, it being, you know, a house that's being lived in. And that it implies basically that the bed and breakfast is being operated by then someone who lives on the property. Frankly, the code is outdated. One of the things when I started working here at the township 3 years ago that I noticed and put on a list is I made a list of all the things that we probably needed to address. You know, some of them were, in my opinion, immediate fixes we needed to make, and some of them were other things that people noted were immediate fixes. And, you know, that was coming from the entire department chiming in, from zoning commission members talking to them, from the administrators' point of view, and from the trustees. So we've knocked off 10, 12 items off of that list. It's not like we've not been chinking away at that list, but one of the things that's been on the list that hasn't been addressed up until now were these, which in most cases are, instead of just being called bed and breakfasts, they're called short-term rentals. Sometimes they have other names. So regardless of the outcome of this case, we are working on language to address in the future short-term rentals and really distinguishing those from bed and breakfasts, because traditionally a bed and breakfast is not necessarily maintained by somebody who lives there. I mean, I've stayed at quite a few of them with my wife. You have someone who's on site in the morning who helps serve breakfast. That person may or may not be the same person that's cleaning up later, right? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. As compared to an Airbnb, occasionally I've never seen one where there's a person there for bed and breakfast. Maybe once I've seen that's happened, where there was an actual person there for food. Sometimes they'll leave you muffins or something to eat, but it is a little different. And the other main difference between a traditional bed and breakfast and the Airbnbs are that bed and breakfast people, they have no way of knowing what the people are like or screening them when they get there, and they're not necessarily parties that are related or are together, right? So the ones that I've stayed at with my wife are cases where like she and I have rented a room or whatever, and it's like a mini hotel and there's like 3 or 4 other groups and none of us know each other, right? Whereas with the Airbnbs or VRBO users, typically that's either an entire family renting the place or it's a group of people that know each other renting the place. I mean, that's been every experience I know of, myself and the people that I know. That's what typically happens. The other difference is with the Airbnb types of uses, you have the ability to screen people in terms of their age, and they can be rated, right? Which if they just sign up for an Airbnb or a regular bed and breakfast, unless you know the people, you really don't know what you're going to get. So there is some differences between the two, and just like other uses like Uber and Lyft, when they became uses, our code took some time to catch up, and in Union Township the code never really caught up to short-term rentals, and part of that's I think because we're not a destination community necessarily, but what's happening is the hotels are getting filled. We had someone who we deal with for business who has helped us on the development of the old high school site and is involved with some other development activities, who comes in from St. Louis, and he was like, hey, all your hotels are booked. There's only one that's not booked, and it's like the one that people maybe have a lesser opinion of in the Eastgate area. But the rooms are gone, and we have at least 2 or 3 hotel people groups that we've talked to in the last several months wanting to do at least 1 more, if not 2 more hotels. So there's demand. And really where the demand seems to be coming in from isn't because we're a destination community, it's more because there are a lot of tournaments, for example, for sports. You know, we've had a lot of people talk to us about building soccer facilities, or are latched on to whatever's happening with the FC property in Milford, or they have tournaments for like On Goal, on Round Bottom Road, which has also recently bought property to expand. We have people wanting to do hockey rinks and do tournaments for those. So we have a lot of like rotational sporting activities that bring people in, and I think that's a big part of it. Another part of it is we're not far from the region, so sometimes people will stay here to go to another thing in this area, and maybe they just like the price and the amenities that are here in the township. But in short, there's demand here. People aren't coming here because it's like a lakeside community or anything like that, but there is demand. We would not know in this case that there were 3 Airbnb uses here if we hadn't had an issue with the first one. And once we talked to the owner about the first one, we found out about the 3 of them, and we said, okay, now that we're aware of it, we have to do something with it. And like I said, we are in the process of writing code on this. The first example of what we've got right now, I think we sent to you or laid out for you, and that may honestly look totally different by the time it's done. But the main takeaway of what we're working on is that no matter what, bed and breakfast uses and the short-term rental uses are designed to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and at least the draft text right now would be either way we go, they're coming to you, and it's really just a matter of what your criteria are going to be. right? And then the other main thing is we're gonna make sure there's a distinction in the definition section, so we don't have to worry about, bed and breakfast definition probably needs to change too, because there aren't very many places where people actually live there and are operating the bed and breakfast anymore, very rare. But in placing it in the code, referencing it in the code, we felt like that was the best place to try to make an argument of like this being potentially allowed under these circumstances. So that's the reason why it's coming to you the way that it is. The text that we're working on, we're gonna bring it to the zoning commission for initial discussion in the October meeting. And best case scenario, we're finished with it, December to January of 26. If it takes a little longer to get it right, it takes a little longer to get it right, which is more important about getting it right than being in a hurry. So we are working on it. In the meantime, we have this applicant, we have 3 properties. There are things that the board can do to place conditions if concerned about things, other than what's necessarily referenced in 612.5, because of what's referenced in Article 4, as Blake was just mentioning. So, I'm not advocating for or against the case. That's really not my position. What I would say is, other than what I've brought up, in having a bed and breakfast or short-term rental situation, conditions can be placed on those uses that you would not place on someone else who might be otherwise renting the house out for longer periods of time, right? Because that's completely legal. Or to if the applicant or owner decided to sell the property to someone else, you can't really, place restrictions on them at that point for some of the things you might otherwise be concerned about as a neighbor, right? So, I guess the only other thing I would add is, my understanding is up until yesterday, we had 2 people call the office and talk about these cases. And up until today, we didn't know how many people were going to be here. We heard today we might have a fair number of people show up, which is honestly not unexpected, because if I had one of these coming in next to me, I would probably want to attend the hearing. But I just want the board to be aware of the thought process that went into it, how we got here in terms of presenting these as bed and breakfasts until we have something in writing for short-term rentals. Because we have nothing else we can really reasonably tie them to. They're not really anything else they don't act like anything else in our code. They don't resemble anything else in our code. So that's where we're at.
Hey,
Any
Mark,
questions on that?
Yeah, Mark, I'm just thinking this way. Basically, you're asking, or what we're supposed to do tonight then is kind of write the zoning, because there's nothing really there. And it, other than like 5 days, I'm just talking out loud right now. It's like 5 days compliance. Who enforces that? You said we can put conditions on it, but then in January or December, the next could all change. The next group would be something else. So I just don't feel comfortable with, there's nothing, to tag onto. It's almost like, just sailing blind, other than some general comments or stuff that's half done, as you pointed out.
Yeah, I think in having the hearing tonight on these, and we haven't had these since I've been in the township, we're right at 3 years. I think it will be beneficial to go ahead and have a hearing and hear from the neighbors on some of these, what kind of questions and issues they're having, because quite frankly, we haven't had any significant questions or issues other than the one property, and we're not hearing about these in other places as significant issues either. If they were a problem, we'd be hearing about them, right?
Yeah. But
that might help us figure out how to write the text that we're writing.
But sitting here for the next 10 or 15 minutes to come up with something, it's almost like I'd rather study it for a little bit. It's kind of like, here you go, and
So
knee-jerk
It's not our
reaction.
decision to come up with that language whatsoever. That's
Exactly.
Well,
That's not what we're here
let's
for.
hear from the people involved in it, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, who's here and speak in favor of it? Step up here. Which one of you is coming?
Raise your right hand. State your name, spell your last name.
Ben Eichholtz, Aichholtz,
And your address?
5079 Eagles View.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I've lived in Union Township my entire life. Some of you know my grandfather. He's actually served on this very board. A few years ago, I started running a short-term rental in Michigan at a vacation area that I visit. Since then, I bought a few houses in Cincinnati. I actually do have one on Wolf Angle, and I went into their township and I said, do you have rules on Airbnbs? What's your scoop? And they do have a specific section for short-term rentals. So I went through their process, filled that out, and completed it. And it's been running without issue, etc. Well, to connect to that, for here, I came into the office here in the front, and I said, do you have Airbnb guidelines or rules or whatever? And through that conversation, I was, well, there's nothing set up for that. So I said, okay, and went on my way. Now, I didn't realize that there was I didn't go into the depths of the conditional uses or anything at that point, because I didn't bring it up. There's nowhere to go next for me. Anyhow, all my homes are well kept, very high rated on Airbnb. In fact, the house on Lexington Green is in the top 5% of listings on Airbnb based on ratings, reviews, and reliability, which is incredible. So, these homes can only succeed if they operate in harmony with the neighbors. The house on Wolf Angle, the house on Lexington Green have been great. I haven't had any kind of issue come up. I've talked with the neighbors. I've haven't gotten anything from those. In general, I introduce myself and talk to the neighbors, as most of you know. And I'm happy to, trade my number and see if there's any issues, etc. And, I'm upfront about it, that this is a short-term rental, If you have any issues, let me know, and we'll work things out. So fences, trees, other privacy measures are considered and even offered on my behalf. So, for example, at the Massachusetts house, we put up some good privacy trees at the basketball hoop. I offered to put in additional trees on your property, actually, would this be nicer if we put some trees here, I ended up giving some blinds away for their bedroom. There was an incident where around 4th of July, there was a guest that put off, fireworks for 15 minutes. Now, I don't know what level of, it makes noise. Anyhow, through that, the neighbor contacted and said, what can we do with this? So I think Mark received that, and he talked to or forwarded on to the police department, etc. And I talked to Officer Hess. He actually called me. I said, well, hey, can I just come in and talk to you? So I drove over and talked to him. And we came up with a plan of there's a warning sign, a 10 o'clock warning sign that you all have in your packet there. The real limit is no noise over 11 o'clock, but I said, well, let's just make it 10, There's no reason to do that. So we went ahead and put on there all the things that people shouldn't do. And in doing that, I believe has helped. It also helps if guests have, one person books it, right? They see all the rules, they do all this stuff. But if someone else is there with them, this reminder on the back door, hey, don't be loud after 10. Don't put off fireworks, don't do something stupid. That, it helps. And the person that rented it can point to it and say, don't do that. So we offer professionally managed, attractive, well-maintained properties that contribute to the local tourism and commerce. One recent group of guests were siblings who had moved to different states, and they reunited and surprised their mother that they were in town, etc. They wanted a place where the whole family could stay together. Now, the house on Wolf Angle, there's a mother and daughter who are staying for 60 days because their house had an issue and they have insurance. And I'm starting to get those type of things where people need a house because their house had a fire or whatever. And of course, it's not all that, right? There's people coming to do work. There's people to go to an event. There's people to go to Riverbend. Because we're close to 275, you can really go anywhere. So the number of short-term rentals is limited by the amount of demand in whatever area, right? So it's not going to just take over. You can only support so many. Any areas with HOAs already restrict rentals or condos, any of those things, so those are out, right? So it's got to be neighborhood with no HOA. I like to have the houses towards the front of the neighborhood. I think that helps with people getting there and just not being, deep in the neighborhoods, Yeah, I believe Union Township should continue allowing this type of flexible housing, and I'd be glad to assist in developing guidelines for short-term rental, and maybe that sign that I came up with is part of it. It's yeah. So, do you have any questions?
And board have any questions?
Not yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak in favor of it?
Does he occupy that address?
In favor? One at a time. You fill out one of those papers?
Yes,
Okay. State your name.
my name is Margaret Osinski,
Spell your last name
Osinski,
and your address.
4303 Lexington Green Drive.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
I have no index cards. I have nothing prepared, so I'm just going to wing it. I live catty corner from the Lexington Green house. We've lived there for 33 years. I've seen the original resident, and then there were two more owners of that house, and then Ben. The previous two owners of that house literally destroyed that house. Ben has come in. It is a jewel now. I think it is a shining example of the type of residents that are in our neighborhood. My kitchen window, actually, the only thing I can see is that house. So I see people come and go. We rate, what do you think they're doing over there? One time it was I think it was like a baby shower. So on the back porch, they had this balloons and having a baby shower there. What I see is, we've had no problems whatsoever. I see families that get together, family reunions. I don't think that's a bad thing. And I didn't realize he had two more in my same neighborhood. So I'm for it. I think he does a wonderful job.
Any questions, board?
Thank you. You're right.
Thank you very much.
It was looking bad for a
was
while
pretty
there. It was practically embarrassing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And walk in the basement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir, do you have something you want to say? Did you fill out one of the papers? Yes. Okay. State your name, spell your last name,
My name is Bill Howard, Howard,
your address.
834 Massachusetts.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I concur with the lady that was just up here. The house across the street from me, directly across the street, a person had it for a couple of years and it was a mess. I mean, a total mess. Ben came in and completely redone the whole house. And the people that have stayed there, I mean, I'm right across the street, I can see everything. Nobody's made any noise. Of course, now I'm in the front. All of their activities are in the back of the house. I can't see any of that. But everything that I see in front of us, they're all orderly, they're friendly, they'll wave at you. I don't see any problem with it at all. I don't know what the law is to say, you know, this isn't right or that, because I'm not a lawyer. But as far as the property itself, and he's right, he's everything that he can do. He has talked to me many different times about, you know, I'm trying to get this done, I'm trying to get that done. I think he has a vested interest in our neighborhood, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that when I go out my door, I see a nice, put-together house, and I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else to speak in favor of it? Does anyone speak against it? Step up. You fill out one of the papers? Yes, sir. Step up to the podium.
Be very concise. Oh, sorry.
Raise your right hand. State your name.
Douglas John Mancini,
Spell your last name
Mancini,
and your address.
838 Massachusetts, Cincinnati, Ohio.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I like the house too, and I respect the man that did it, and he did beautiful work. But that's not the issue here. The issue is law and order. So I'm going to apply the law to the facts, because we need to be a nation of law and order. And I have a vested interest also because I have a house right next to it. But the legal issue in this case is whether the owner/applicant qualifies for a conditional use to allow for a bed and breakfast, not Airbnb, according to your own writing, per Article 6, Section 6215 of Union Township Zoning Resolution. Okay, the Union Township Zoning Resolution, Appendix A, defines very clearly a bed breakfast home as an owner-occupied house or a portion thereof where short-term lodging and meals are provided. In this case, the owner applicant does not occupy that or reside in this house and therefore does not meet the township's definition of a bed breakfast home and therefore does not qualify for the conditional use for a bed breakfast home per Article 6, Section 612.5 of the Union Township Zoning Resolution. That's the law, that's the facts. And that's the current law, not proposed law. So all I would ask is that you follow the law, and that the state law also coincides with this. This is the current law, not the future law or with future policy concerns. And I don't think you should decide the law in the next 5 minutes either, according to this gentleman over here. But I do respect this gentleman, and I do love his home. It's beautiful work. But my feelings are irrelevant. So just law and order is what I'm asking for. Thank you.
Hold on a second. Is there any questions? The board have any questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Anybody else to speak against it? Okay. Raise your right hand. State your name,
Emily Clenny,
spell your last name,
Clenney,
and your address.
4313 Red Coat Drive.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Do you mind going back to one of your first slides, the front of his house?
Oh, the front of the house?
Yeah, and I'm going to pull up my notes real fast. So I prepared a narrative to read, if you don't mind, and then I have a couple things I just wanted to touch up on, like, that have been just discussed. Can you go to the next slide? Excuse me. What I'm trying to get to is the right of the front of his house, you can see our fence. So there's a
That
brown.
one?
That one?
Yeah, that one. Perfect. Okay. So I'll read my statement and then I'll address a couple things. So, good evening, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Like I said, my name's Emily Clenny, and I live directly next door. So I do live on the backside. So I live directly behind the house. There's the pool, and directly above the pool is our bedroom windows.
I have a picture of that might be better.
Yeah, and I'll reference our.
This one?
Yeah, so those two windows above our garage are our master bedroom. And I'm the one that filed the complaint, 4th of July, because really what I reached out to the township to say, I reached out to the owner that night, and I didn't hear back until the next day. What do I do in these circumstances? I don't want to just call the police because people are shooting fireworks right off by my house. But anyways, I will get to that. Let me finish my narrative. So I live directly next to the property in question with my husband and our 2 very young children. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 5-month-old. I do want to begin by saying that I've met Ben, the property owner, and his family. We have a rapport. He's very communicative, very, very nice guy. We would be glad to have he and his family as our neighbors, for sure. But the reality is they're not our neighbors. Instead, what we live beside is a revolving door of strangers, okay? When we purchased our home 2 years ago, we carefully researched neighborhoods and all the typical registries that you research when you have children to make sure we were making the right and safest choice for our family. That sense of confidence has been undone by the constant turnover of short-term rental guests. Different groups arrive multiple times a week and has fundamentally changed the character of our neighborhood. The most pressing concern for us is safety. Our backyard directly borders the rental property. And the reason I bring up the fence, so the white fence is gorgeous, but that fence that you can see off of our very weedy gravel driveway, excuse us, is what continues on into our backyard. So from our fence there to our big garage, is that like 4-foot fence, see-through? And Ben was lovely, did plant some nice shrubs there, but we still have direct line of sight from the pool and all those guests to our patio, our children playing outside, just to give you some reference. So I go on to say, their pool and basketball court sit against our fence, and it showed that in the one photo. With a permanent neighbor, a pool might be used on weekends, or a ball might occasionally roll into our yard, and it would be no problem at all. We would have a relationship and there would be trust. But with short-term guests who have no long-term stake in our community, it feels very different. We have already had strangers enter our yard because the ball went over this fence, so they thought they could just come on over and get it. And as a result, we've had to install a security camera. We're looking into saving for a privacy fence, which if you've ever bought one, they're very expensive. These are expenses and precautions we have never expected when we moved here. And Ben was lovely. I was complaining about the spotlight from over his pool, and he gave us one of his blackout shades for our bedroom, so we do have one of those. I do really appreciate that he did that. What makes this so difficult is that for the guests, every day is their vacation. That means loud gatherings, parties, and noise at any time, whether it's a Saturday night or an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I work from home most days, and something as simple as opening our windows on a nice weekday morning has been met with shouting, loud music, or smelling marijuana. I had my kids out the other day, and there's a group of 6 men just smoking weed on their patio. This is not the life we envisioned when we chose this neighborhood to raise our family. It's not simply a matter of inconvenience, it changes the nature of our street. We rely on zoning laws to provide stability, predictability, and a sense of safety. A short-term rental operating in this way undermines that. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. Families like mine are left with no true neighbors in that sense, only temporary visitors who treat the property as an event space. So there's no one, Ben is there often. Ben is there often taking care of the home. And there are things he has done to try to enforce laws, things, but no one is there enforcing it in the evening at 1 o'clock in the morning when fireworks are being set off. So I respectfully ask that the board to consider the long-term consequences of allowing short-term rentals like this in residential neighborhoods. My family and others like ours depend on zoning to preserve the safety and peace of our homes. What we want is simple, a neighborhood with neighbors, not strangers. Thank you for your time and for considering our concerns. So a couple things that I saw in the review as you're presenting some of the facts. It stated that there was locked gates, and that was one of my first complaints was when the property was first purchased, the gates were consistently being left open. And I submitted a complaint because there are a couple houses in the neighborhood that have animals that are just free roaming, which is fine, but you worry about that with an open pool. And there's also, surrounding that residential home, there are 3 households, including mine, 7 kids under 6 years old, okay? There's a mention of the 10 p.m. curfew, and there is signage, and since 4th of July, it has been better, but there is no one there to enforce it, right? You see the sign, or you tell someone over the app to be good, but who's gonna enforce it? And from Memorial Day, when the listing started, through July 4th, it was chaos. Like, there was parties all the time, and like, I appreciate the effort to try to turn it into something nice, and I definitely appreciate like taking care of the home, but it's not a situation where it is an actual bed and breakfast, which is what the policy is stating it is temporarily, where someone is on property, as you stated. There's no one to enforce any of these guidelines. And another note about the locked gate. So there is one of the gates is on our property line. Like if people come out the door, they're on our yard. It's broken. It doesn't have a lock. It's like when I mow, I have to kind of smash it shut so that I can mow past it because it is like stuck ajar. So it's by no means locked. And one more thing about guests being screened. So I have an Airbnb account. I probably will never rent an Airbnb again ever in my life. And I can tell you, like, yes, there's rating, but it's just a trust process, right? Like, I have a decent rating as a guest on an Airbnb, but there's no background checks. There's no, like, when you talk about being screened, it's just like, oh, yeah, he came and stayed at my Airbnb and he left the place nice, 5-star for that guest. You know, like, it's not an actual screening by any means. You just have to have a Facebook account or a Google or something like that in order to make a user account. You don't have to have any sort of background check. So I think that's all my additional comments. I'm glad to answer questions, and I do appreciate the opportunity to come and give our comment.
Any questions from the board? Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Anybody else to speak against? Come forward. Did you fill out one of the papers? Raise your right hand, state your name,
William Flanagan,
spell your last name,
Flanigian,
and your address.
822 Massachusetts Drive, Cincinnati, 45245.
You solemnly swear the truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I guess starting off, the call to bed and breakfast home versus a bed and breakfast lodging, bed and breakfast motel, hotel, it's the same purpose. It's a lodging place. It's not a residence. It appears that, you know, when they said there was no complaints about bed and breakfast being in the neighborhood, basically we didn't know. We just thought we were stuck with it, you know. you found out from neighbors that it was Airbnbs, because you saw all the different license plates, the constant turnover of different vehicles. So basically, you assumed everything had already passed, everything's up to code. Airbnbs are just fine, didn't know it couldn't sail. But long and short of it is, I'm glad my kids are grown and out of the house, because when you have that constant flow of transient people, you don't know who they are, you don't know anything of them, and you got a lot of young kids running around that neighborhood. And that's what a neighbor's supposed to be, nice neighborhood of residents that know each other. Most of the time, I believe it's still active. I know when my kids were young, I was searching websites looking for registered sex offenders, make sure they weren't in the neighborhood, or if they were, damn well let my kids know it. Unfortunately for these young parents, I don't know how the hell they're gonna do it. When you talk about market demand, hotels, motels, they got big staffs. They know where demand for lodging is, and they're gonna be knocking on the door saying, we wanna build another hotel. So either the demand is there or it isn't. Everything's booked, they'll build more, they'll build more. I don't think it has to be a bed and breakfast in a residential neighborhood. Again, it's not owner occupied. Sounds like we're lucky that this guy does as much as he does on these houses, but that's him. Is this gonna be like Oprah, you get one of these exemptions, you get an exemption, and you get an exemption? Where does it stop? When does it not become a residential neighborhood and becomes a bed and breakfast neighborhood? How many exemptions do you give out? We got a case here, two of them within 8 houses. Could it be 12 being bed and breakfast in the neighborhood? Once the domino drops, everything else falls behind it. Who do you say no to? I guess the only other issue I have is, like breweries, they were hot, and we're reading about them closing left and right. How do we know the bed and breakfast niche doesn't change? What happens then? What becomes of those licenses or those authorizations? What else can they put in place of? Do they have to come back every time they sell the house for somebody else to come in and ask for a bed and breakfast license? There's hotels and motels that take care of this, and those are in commercial areas. I guess really, I just think we're losing our residential area. A lot of people walking through the neighborhood, you meet your neighbors, but when cars are coming in from everywhere and in and out of the neighborhood, you don't know who they are. Again, being that close neighbor to one of them is quite a concern. I guess really that's about it, other than the fact I believe that, you know, if there is such a demand, hotels and motels will take care of that demand. I don't think it has to be done in a residential neighborhood. It should be done in a commercial area, because basically it's a transaction. You're making money. It's a transaction. That's commercial. I think it should be in the commercial area. Thank you.
Any question from the ward? No? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else to speak not in favor of it? Come on up.
Can I just second?
No, come up to the podium.
She fell out of paper.
Raise your right hand. State your name.
Pam Boland,
Spell your last name
B-O-L-A-N,
and your address.
4286 Larma Lane.
And do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to second what everyone said against it. Larma Lane's just been shut down from everything. We're a cul-de-sac now. They're building monstrosities all around us. We don't know what the influx is going to be, who's moving in. So we've got that to worry about. And then now, you know, we find out secondhand that there's an Airbnb on our street of what, maybe 30 homes on our street? What's to come? I mean, we don't have any issues now. It is a lovely home. He's done a great job. But what does the future hold? Safety. Safety's number one. It's a small street. We don't need revolving doors. Well. Yeah. That's it.
No questions from the board? Well, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Anybody else to speak against it? Come on up. Did you fill out one of the papers? State your name,
Eric Smith,
spell your last name,
SMITH,
and your address.
4267 Larmer Lane.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
I have no issue with anything that he has done with the property. Everything so far has been wonderful. The property's been updated and done well. Any of his guests have, because I live directly next to him on the left side, but no guest I've had any issues with. The only concern that I have with the bed and breakfast, there's no defining, there's nothing defining of any kind, no definition of how many guests can stay in the house, how many different guests can be in the house. So the traffic load is what I think the vast majority of us, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but are really concerned with. An Airbnb, you're leasing out or renting to a particular family or a single entity, or maybe just a group that's together. But when we open up the door to the bed and breakfast, we're just not really sure of the volume. Larmer Lane is now closed off and it's a no outlet, so we're just really curious on, there's nothing really defining what that means, other than, I mean, we've talked about owner occupancy is supposed to be there when the bed and breakfast is on, but then part of it is not. So there's just not enough, I think, legal information in front of us to make us feel comfortable. And I think that's about it that I have as far as the comment goes.
Any question from the board? No? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else to speak against it? Come on forward. Did you fill one of the papers out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Raise your right hand, pronounce your name.
My name is Aniko Smith, S-M-I-T-H. I'm representing my mother. She's Parashka Zenti. She lives at 4270 Larmer Lane.
Okay, you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole
Yes,
truth,
I
and
do.
nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, my mom is 90 years old. She's lived at that same house for over 30 years now. And yes, you've closed the street down, so it's kind of like a compact residential area where everybody, we know she knows her neighbors, she watches out, she knows whose car is who. And I was shocked when she showed me a letter from the zoning board that they want to do a bed and breakfast right across the street. Now, that bed and breakfast is a nice looking house. This is a small little ranch-style house, and it's like you're bringing in people in and out on a weekly basis, and I agree with the other ones who were opposed that their neighborhood should be a neighborhood where people know each other. Now you're bringing in strangers on a weekly basis. Yeah, I can understand him wanting to get by the house, make his money, rent it out, but he's not going to be there. The rest of our neighbors, we are there every day, and we have issues with a couple neighbors, one neighbor in particular. But I'm sorry, Eastgate area is, I agree with the other, you've got all these buildings, places going up all over. You know what? This little tiny street, Larmer Lane, does not need something like that.
Okay, any questions from the board?
No.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anybody else to speak against it? Hearing none, discussion, well, did you fill out one of the paper?
I did, sir.
Raise your right hand,
Apologize.
state your name,
Tammy Dower, D-A-U-E-R,
address.
4308 Lexington Green Drive.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm second, third, and fifth, and everybody what they said, in total agreement of all that. I purchased my house 20 years ago. I live right in between his two bed and breakfasts. They're beautiful houses. He did a good job. I've never met Ben, but the problem that I have with that is, as they all stated, we don't know who's coming in and out of these places. You can't screen them. You know what I'm saying?
He's not living there either. He is, however, claiming occupancy credit for living there when he's not on his taxes. But neither here nor there. My concern is safety. You know, I have grandchildren that live with me, and the school is right around the corner. Not knowing who's coming in and out of here. Kids are playing out on the street or in the sidewalk in the yards. People are starting to fly up and down the streets. Again, we don't know who they are. Have no clue. I feel that when these businesses start happening in our residential neighborhoods, it's just another step to converting our neighborhood from a neighborhood to a business district. I might as well go get a house on 125. You know what I'm saying? I purchased my house. I looked hard and long for my house because I wanted to live in an older neighborhood, had a little bit of yard around my house. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's not like you can reach out the window and punch your neighbor, you know, like they did at the subdivision on the other side of the park, you know. And to know that, you know, he has 3 properties and it's kind of getting a monopoly, that sets a precedent to me that he's buying up, you know, the neighborhood, and our whole neighborhood's going to turn into a business district of stuff like that. And like I said, the school is right around the corner. Kids are walking around. We don't know who these people are. We don't know if our kids are safe. And in today's world, heaven help us all. And there's no way to screen people. I don't care what you say you're trying to do. You can give them rules. You know, when you go on vacations anywhere, people are going to do what they're going to do. And, you know, you're going to deal with it, or you're going to complain, and, you know, how far are you going to get with all of that? But, you know, looking at this too, you know, saying the rules that he can have, you know, 3 people per room. He's got 4 rooms. That's 12 people in that house. They may or may not all know each other, be related, or even, you know, they could be different people coming in and out. We don't know. We don't know where they're coming from or anything about it. And then looking at, you know, when it says the facility is monitored, how is it monitored? He's got cameras on it. What's he going to see something go foul and he's going to rush right over there and stop it? Is that going to happen? I mean, so, you know, we have a nice neighborhood, a nice quiet neighborhood, and that's what I thought I was buying into, was a nice quiet neighborhood, not some gonna be business district. So, you know, I'm totally not for it at all. And then looking at some of the rules here, the saying, you know, 5 persons can occupy 1 room. Is that a bedroom or a common room in the house? What does that mean? On the rules of your 612.5 applicant, you know, what's a bed and breakfast? On your 2A comment, 2 adults can occupy each sleeping room, but children under 12 can be in the same room, and provided that no more than 5 persons occupy 1 room. So does that mean 1 bedroom? Does that mean, since there's 4 bedrooms, we got 20 people in this house? What do we got? That's a lot. And like I said, I live in between the 2, dead center. And like I said, there's a lot of traffic coming down the road and people we don't know, and that concerns me. And do we know if any of these people are sex predators? We don't know. You're not screening for that. We don't know. We don't know where these people are coming from, backgrounds, what they do, none of it. So safety is a big priority to me and my grandchildren. So I worry about that. And then again, he's got rules, he's got cameras, but again, I don't see any of that being enforced. And he was sneaking under the radar, operating these until somebody complained. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew what he was doing. He's got 3 of them already. You know, he could put 1 every other house. And then what's our community now? You know, we got a business district. And that's not what I bought into for my house. It's just not. And then, like I said, he's still sneaking. He's claiming, you know, owner occupancy credit. He's not occupying it. So how much more sneaking happens? I don't know, I'm just concerned for the safety and the traffic in our little subdivision that, you know, nobody ever thought was gonna turn into a business district. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, any questions of the board?
No.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Anybody else to speak against it? Hearing, all right, come on up. Did you fill out one of the papers?
Yes,
State your name.
Dina Verissima, Verissima, 4283 Larma.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
So, as I stated to you when I arrived, I was not comfortable stating before or against something I didn't have enough information about. So I was mainly here to listen and learn, and I have appreciated everything all of the neighbors have said. We do have a housing crisis. There are people living in RVs working on the Purina plant. I can speak for our mutual neighbor. She has two 2-year-olds and a newborn, and she's very concerned about the safety of her children. And while you guys are fleshing out the rule or law, maybe you could put in a annual or biannual review of each property to see how it's doing, see how it's being run, to see if you want to renew the allowing of this to happen. And then also, I think it would be a good idea to have it just be for the owner and for the lifetime of they own the property, have some sort of parameters around how long this is gonna happen, and if we do have problems, if we can come back and address in this way again, so that maybe it can be revoked if you do grant these things to the homeowners. In some sort of unanimous way of voting from the neighbors, something like that. So that's about all I had to say there.
Any questions of the board? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
There's one other lady back there that raised her hand. Come on up. Raise your right hands. State your name.
Veronica Motz.
Spell your last name.
4280 Larner Lane, MOTZ.
Did you spell your last name?
MOTZ, like in zoo.
Okay. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
My biggest concern, nobody's asked this question, what will it do with our property? Is our value gonna go down? Or if we wanna sell our house, will people wanna move in with the Airbnb there, bed and breakfast? That's my question. How do we figure that one out?
It's a county question. It's a county question.
Yep.
I'm surprised nobody wanted to know anything about the value of your house if it's gonna go down.
That'd be the auditor, I think. The auditor would have to determine that. Any questions from the board?
I think if, people are voting on it, they ought to think about the people that have lived there. That's one of my big concerns at my age, But I think everybody needs to be concerned about their homes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
Any other questions from the board? No. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else to speak against it? Come on up here, what you got to say. I know you're not against it, but go ahead.
I thought you changed your mind for me.
Yeah.
I sold him.
So, no, I appreciate all the concerns, and it's a reasonable to be concerned about the unknown, right? And that's kind of the biggest point that I just want to make is that, if there is or are something happening that can't be addressed, then that's definitely grounds for, if this can't work, it can't work. But if there are just worries, and worries aren't enough, I mean, these people that are coming aren't interested in your kids or anything else other than visiting this house, the people that are in it, and leaving. They're not, there's the potential to make noise or whatever, cause a ruckus or and so forth. But it's a normal level of, traffic coming back and forth. It's a single-family house with a maximum of 9 guests overnight. They could have their, family come over and swim in the pool in the day, whatever, but they have to go home at night. What was I going to say? The property value, like everyone said, I've upgraded and kept these properties clean. So if you look down Larma, I don't think you're going to have worries about property value with this house versus a lot of these houses that are not taken care of at all. If this was a long-term tenant or anyone in the neighborhood, do you know who is coming over to your houses? Do you know all the people that are visiting your home?
Sir,
Speak here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You have to keep it directed this
Okay.
way. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm saying, there are people that go in and out of neighborhoods constantly. And what happens is, if they do something wrong, you call the police, and the police come and take care of it or whatever, and that's normal procedure. Until there is a problem, there's a worry, but until there is a problem that becomes, fruition, whatever, it's only worry. And I totally understand worrying, like, who's coming here? What is this? And when you look at, and then most of these people are just people visiting their family, people going to a soccer tournament, people, guys working on the new steak restaurant in Eastgate. There's one of the examples. So I see that. They don't see that side of it as what are these people actually doing, And yeah, that would be terrible if someone that was no good came and visited any neighborhood, 100%. Now, in the Massachusetts house in specific, I increased the age to 30 to book it, right? And I say you have to, the person that's 30 has to be there, etc. If I look on the camera and I saw something that was outrageous, I would call the police. I'm not going to come over. I'd call the police and have them take care of it just like anyone should. If someone sees something that's not right, call the police, and that issue would be addressed, and that's, the fault of those people, etc. I don't want to bring bad people into any neighborhood. No one would. So I just ask that look at these as, other people, or other family members, like your people within your own family that are visiting other cities, visiting their mother or whatever, or visiting for a job or whatever. These are just other folks. So, yeah.
Mr. Eichholz, we've kind of bled over into all 3 cases.
Yes, and we didn't really bring up
started
the
with
other
one,
ones, but
and then we've taken testimony for all 3 of them, I noticed there. So we've kind of bled into that. For instance, let's just talk about the one that we started with, the one on Massachusetts. Right now, how far out are you booked? What's the latest you have someone?
So I put in a restriction, right, because we're doing this.
Yeah.
That they could only book out 90 days, something like that. I have to look for 100%, but there's a period in which it stops. Yeah.
But how far are you actually booked, though? You're limited to do you have it already booked out 90 days as it stands right now?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look.
Okay.
But yeah, somebody could have booked 90 days in advance. Yes.
Okay, they could have.
Yes.
But right now, on all three of the properties, you don't know right now off the top of your head.
I don't know when the last booking is,
Okay,
no.
all right.
I don't know.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Is this something new?
I was gonna add additional comment, but if you would like to.
Step up here.
I just wanted to add some additional comment of, I don't think worry is unjust. I have seen examples of some of the guests that have come, specifically the July 4th weekend. I don't know if you know what an influencer is, but there was about 20 people in that pool taking a music video in that pool. They're the ones that set off a firework. I have videos, I have photos. People were passed out on lawn furniture in the backyard. It is families mostly, but it is also groups of grown men smoking weed on the patio or influencers coming in. And he has gone and added additional restrictions by posting them, but who's going to enforce that, right? So I just wanted to say it's not a hypothetical to be worried about this situation. I've seen it all summer. So just wanted to add that additional comment. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we've heard enough to make a decision. Okay? We can't keep going over and over and over and over the same subject. So we're gonna call it the board to have discussion of the board.
It is important to note we have 3 separate cases, so, I mean, you can make a decision that is applicable across the board, but I would suggest that, you know, unless the first decision might be applicable to all of them, you make 3 different motions.
You want 3 different motions?
Unless the
Sure.
one motion is gonna cover all of them.
I think one will probably cover all of them.
Yeah. We still need to enter all 3 of them, though, into the record. There will still need to be.
Because we didn't do the report over the other 2, even though the other 2 locations were referenced.
Right.
We didn't show them.
Right.
We didn't reference the report. We can go through the reports, and I don't think there would need to be the level of detail that we had on the first one.
Right.
So we can say that they're applicable to all 3 cases and read the case numbers.
Yes, that's what I think.
Yeah.
After the cases have been read into the record, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think we should at least proceed with the specifics on these and show the presentations are pretty short.
Right.
All right. All right, do you have a motion for this case?
Are we still, I just have a discussion.
We're still talking about this one, though, now.
So this is just my thoughts, is initially I had a problem with this because it didn't conform to the verbiage in the zoning.
Right.
Same sections.
I don't think that any of the properties are in disrepair. They're well-maintained and well-kept.
They are.
Yeah, he's probably incentivized to do that
I
more
don't
than
think
the actual
You would
homeowners.
have to, if you're advertising a home, I would believe,
Right,
for short-term rental, they better look at. I did not know about the additions to the verbiage that are being worked on until we showed up tonight.
Right.
But as the books is written to current, I don't believe it conforms to this code, and I think that the township recognizes that, and that's why they wanted to put it as bed and breakfast. But in previous cases, over the last 10 or 12 years, we have made decisions on whether or not it legitimately meets the definition of what is in our book.
The way I see it, it's not a bed and breakfast. I wouldn't, it's a residential area, period. And looking at people coming and going, I really have, personally, it doesn't fit the law, what it says, but it's zone residential, and someone's looking to change the residential thing so they can book it out for 5 days or 10 days or whatever.
Well, you could have a long-term rental in that neighborhood.
Well, I understand, but that's called rent.
But we
but
are
not a
not
bed
here
and
to
breakfast.
rewrite the book.
Correct. But,
That has to be done. I would
well, yeah,
hope that maybe we would have some influence over some of the deciding bullet points in that, maybe, because we are the ones that it's gonna land on,
correct.
and we have to have the final decision. But
Mark,
Yeah,
did-
I don't know what your
This
guys'
is not
thoughts are.
covered in our zoning resolution,
No.
which also means it's not against it. It's not covered, period.
Does something get, I know
Which
we
leads-
just tabled a case until they conform to their things, but what do you do with this? If there's verbiage coming down the road in 2 or 3 months, does this have to be heard after this book is rewritten?
I'd let them come back,
But what do we do now?
yay or nay.
And there's no way of knowing when we'll actually have something that specifically addresses this sort of situation, is there?
Not for sure.
Right.
I mean, I think it's likely it'll happen between December and, I mean, February or March is the latest, but I mean, it really depends on what kind of discussions and feedback we get from the different people involved.
I mean, anybody,
Does anybody want to make a motion?
Well, the one thing I'd like to comment on is, I think it's, we have change going on now. Everything, nothing stays the same. And this is part of the growing pains that we go through, and it's tough. But the bright thing that you take from this is, look at the people that came up, and showed an interest, of their community. Not every community is that way. And I think that's a very positive thing. So we appreciate you taking the time out to come here and to express your interest
Because
for
without it-
or against.
Right. Without it, I mean, that does have influence over some decisions.
Yep.
I have a question.
Go ahead and come
Can
up,
you
please.
to the
So
podium?
essentially, a bed and breakfast is a business, right?
Yes.
So if you was to allow that, what would stop you from, if you're gonna rezone, somebody running some other kind of business out of their home?
There's a lot
Oh,
in
they
the
do.
zoning code.
I mean,
that
it's a
related
business,
to
is a
that.
business is business, what if I wanna do something? You know what I mean? I mean,
This
is that
is-
everything gonna be,
This is not a rezone. There's a very limited list of things that can be done as a conditional use, and they would have to go to this board. So it's not like there's a laundry list of things people could come in here for without doing a rezone.
okay, I'm just asking because like I said, we all bought our homes thinking we're buying into a residential area and obviously this is changing if that goes forward. So that's why I'm asking, where does it, where does it stop?
There
For
are a
running
lot.
different businesses out of your house or whatever. Having people come in.
There's a lot in the zoning book code that would stop that. This is not in there anyplace. What's happening here?
I
Because
get-
it's not bed and breakfast.
We
I get it.
heard a case in 2016, I think, and we approved a bed and breakfast. There is a bed and breakfast in Union Township.
But is it
It's
in,
off a Clough, but it is an owner-occupied property.
Mm-hmm.
It conformed to the zoning rules, and it was approved.
and it's in
But that's the last time we've ever heard a case against a short-term rental.
a residential area?
Yeah, we've never had one against, or for an Airbnb or VRBO.
Where are those?
The only bed and breakfast is off of Clough by Shaler, I believe it was. It was like back at Little Private Drive.
Well, isn't that the that other address that they were talking about?
No. No.
And
These
it's,
three are separate.
and you changed the zoning for that one?
We haven't changed it.
There's no change.
Oh, it just developed and is,
You just get an approval for a conditional use for the bed and breakfast. If that property's sold, the conditional use goes away.
huh. Well, essentially, it just seems like that it's, it's turning our neighborhood into a business, which none of us bought our houses based on that ever happening. Like I said, I might as well go get a house on 125.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Mr. Ford?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Do you agree with what's in here that's conforming? Do you agree with what is in the book that's not conforming to what?
Yes.
And that's basically what we have to go.
All right. I make a motion to deny the applicant's request for a conditional use and allowing for a bed and breakfast in residential R1 district based on evidence, testimony, and finding of fact, which is this. It does not conform to the zoning resolution definition of a bed and breakfast, and the zoning resolution does not have any other recourse by which to define or to manage this particular issue.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second. Roll call. Oh, you got something to say?
Or add?
Is there an opportunity to reapply after verbiage is added to this?
Yes.
And he has to reapply?
Right.
Yes, absolutely. And that will be addressed. I wish I knew the time frame on that. We do not, but it will be addressed,
Yes.
and we can deal with it then
Yep.
appropriately, rather than just taking a shot in the dark and saying at some time in the future, we're going to have rules that actually apply to this, but until then, we're just going to create
Our own rules, really.
our own conditions by which to allow this to float until something's actually,
Right, I just don't think,
I just,
I don't think that's our position to do.
no.
Right.
No.
Okay, roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Kangro.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. McAdams.
Aye.
Mr. Jenk.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have case
We've got two more cases.
325A. You want to present that? Sure.
All right, case 325A, same applicant. This is located at 4271 Lana Lane. It is, the parcel number is located on the screen. The zoning district is R1, and the conditional use is the same as the previous case. Let's see here. Distinctions from the previous case, this proposed home is 1 story. It's approximately 1,150 square feet. The entirety of this home is dedicated to bed and breakfast use. And the property includes a rear yard enclosed by a fence. Adjacent zoning is largely R1 residential, with the exception of a planned district development, which is a multifamily residential use, so still residential adjacent. Background, the applicant was made aware of their issue and noncompliance as a result of the complaint regarding address to another property. Key articles to be, sections to be noted in reference to this case would be Article 6, Section 612.5. In addition, Section 442 and apologies here. and an action can be taken via Article 4, Section 441 through 445. Same recommendations from the previous case. And then as you can see, the existing conditions on the slide indicate the location of the property in question. Here is the site plan submitted by the applicant. As you can see, oh, you're good. This is looking at the property prior to any renovations that occurred. It's looking at the front of the property after renovations were made. This is the neighboring property to the north, and this is the neighboring property to the south.
Any discussion of the board? Anybody speak in favor? You've been sworn. You've been sworn. This is a different case than
Okay.
the other one. You've already been sworn.
Yeah, same with the other property. I think that it should strongly be considered that, you know, if there is no issue, then maybe this could be okay. But yeah, I'm just not sure what I'm gonna do with what you want me to do with the current bookings and the situation. Obviously, you're gonna decline this one. If new rules are, you know, come up, it's gonna be the same discussion. I don't see how that really changes, it's not gonna change anyone's opinion in the neighborhood. You know, there's still, you know, it's the unknown of this, who are these people coming, and why is this is scary. This is a, you know, this is our neighborhood, and I understand that. How do I give the confidence other than saying, you know, Lexington Greenhouse has been running for a year and there's been no issue. No one, you know, it's big, the scare is a lot bigger than the reality. And now, in that particular, again, the other house, if I might say about that, that was like the exception of all of the renters that I've seen. And it, of course, it was on, you know, a holiday weekend, and it really, you know, it was the worst that I've seen. And since then, everything's been fine. Patty, the house next door here, she's like, gosh, I expected more going on, but there's, you know, there's nothing going on. It's you know, people are coming and they're getting ready for their daughter's wedding, and they're using the refrigerator, and they're making the food, and then they bring it over to their daughter's wedding. You know, stuff. It's just, they're not a resident. They're a temporary resident, but they're treating it like a residence, not. They're not setting up a business there. They're using it as a normal family would use it. You know, even if that means that they use the pool when they get there. I mean, there's people are in that pool right away when they're there because they don't have a pool. They came to a house with a pool, they're in the pool. If there's people in the pool next door, they make noise. Whether it's people that aren't from here or people that live there, or if it's a tenant or whatever. For the neighbors, it doesn't gain them anything to have anything different, and it's scary, and I totally understand that. But unless there's a real issue, it should be considered that it'd be okay. And that's all that I ask, really. Yeah.
I understand, and if I had the mechanism within the zoning resolution to properly address this, I would have no problem with it. But I would be creating a conditional use for a condition that actually isn't what is here.
Correct.
We don't have any control.
And I don't have any
Like,
control
our
over
job
this
is
right
just
now.
to facilitate.
Right. So again, like your Uber example, it's something, this is before the formalities take place or whatever. And maybe there's formalities that can help assure the neighbors, et cetera, that it's okay. And I would agree with like, hey, you get so many strikes or so many issues and this can't go on. And that I agree with. If there's real problems, then, but until there's real problems and problems are being addressed and communication's had, then, maybe it's okay. So, yeah, it's a new thing, so it's scary. But it's just people coming to use a house.
What I suspect is, in the future, we will have an appropriate section that will deal with this and will enable us to probably satisfy you. At present, that does not exist.
We have to go by what's in here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
respect that.
Yours doesn't meet the bed and breakfast as defined in here.
Which may help to push to have some new language figured out, or
Now, obviously, with that being said, I can't, I can, but, if I terminated all future bookings that were already booked, et cetera, that would obviously go against me on my, perfect track record on Airbnb, et cetera. So, could I ask to keep those bookings?
I don't know that we can tell you that.
I don't
yeah,
think
we
I think
can't
that's,
decide.
that's,
Well, I
think the board needs to make a decision on the cases, and I think once the case decisions are made, then as a staff, we would connect with you about how to move forward based on what the board has decided and so forth. I don't think it's
Right,
their
yeah, you
place
don't have
try
to decide that now or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
I don't think that's really their.
I'm just asking as a, think about
I mean,
maybe.
yes, that rhetorically is a good question, and I think it will need to be addressed, but I think that once they make their decision, we will need to connect and talk about, moving forward from the decisions that they make at the hearing tonight. So, whether that's tomorrow or next week, like, we'll have to talk about it.
Right. I mean, obviously, yeah, so.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone have any other questions for me?
Nope.
No, but do we need to ask for anybody to speak against, for this
Is
case?
anybody
since it's a
against
new
it?
case?
To speak against it,
That hasn't already spoken.
this case.
Yeah, I believe everyone has already spoken for all three cases.
I don't
Yeah.
think
But, yeah,
Hearing none?
all right, I'll make a motion. I move to deny the applicant's request for a conditional use to allow for a bed and breakfast home in the residential R1 district per Article 6, Section 6.612.5. I do this based on the evidence, testimony, and finding of fact, and the fact being that that particular Article 6 and section does not apply, nor does the use conform to that section.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Kangro.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. McAdams.
Aye.
Mr. Jenkins.
Aye.
Motion passes. Last case of the evening.
Next case, please.
Case 4-25-A, same applicant. The address for this case is 4300 Lexington Green Drive. parcel ID is listed on the screen. The zoning is R1, single-family residential, and the request is the same conditional use request. Distinct differences between this case and the previous two. The proposed use is two-story. The square footage is approximately 1,900 square feet, the entirety of which would be dedicated to a bed and breakfast use. The property includes a pool enclosed by a fence. As mentioned previously, the subject property is zoned R1. All adjacent properties are also zoned R1. And same background as the previous case. Article and sections to keep in mind. Article 6, section 612.5. Article 4, section 442. And the action taken by the board would be in accordance with Article 4, sections 441 through 445. And as you can see, there's the site plan submitted by the applicant on the screen, which indicates the pool enclosed by the fence. And then I believe we have images. There's the front of the property looking northeast. Here's the property as viewed from across Glenesty-Withamsville Road. Here's the side of the property closest to Glenesty-Withamsville Road. Again, here's a different angle looking at the backyard and side of the property. This is looking at the other side of the property, looking northeast against the adjacent neighbor's side. And then this is same side of the property, looking east from Lexington Green Drive. And that concludes the report and presentation.
Anybody want to speak in favor of? Ours is the same thing. Anybody opposed? Come forward. You've already been sworn.
Yes, just two things. One, there was a reference made to the demand that we talked about earlier, having a demand for a bed and breakfast. There's also a huge demand for people moving into, young couples, families, whatever, moving into neighborhoods and having a crisis trying to find a house that's affordable, that has a good neighborhood, that's good schools around it. So not saying he can't buy where he wants to buy, but when you're weighing a bed and breakfast versus having a family, or not necessarily a family, anybody's going to invest and stay in the neighborhood and do what's best. Again, he's done a great job on the properties. I think he's probably the exception to the rule. I don't think we need to confuse, having home occupied business owners. That's a little bit different than someone that's not there. And then the second thing I wanted to address, and I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but my wife and I looked at a property on Eagle View Drive, and it's a very nice neighborhood. And I would say that all the warrants that we have in our neighborhood, those people would have the same issue in that neighborhood as well. And the houses are even bigger, so you could fit more people in there in an Airbnb without overcrowding it. But I don't think anybody there would like it either. So our suspicions and worries are not unfounded that other people wouldn't probably have the same thing no matter what neighborhood it is. Your own is. So, I don't think we're all worrywarts. I think we're all invested in our own neighborhood, just like I'm sure all of us in this room are. So I think the world of the man's entrepreneurial spirit, although I do believe that the houses were bought as a residence but turned into a business, and we just don't need businesses in the neighborhood. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ma'am, did you want to speak?
I said what he said.
Okay. No one else to speak against? Discussion of the board. Any further discussion other than your motion?
I'll play my record again. I move to deny the applicant's request for a conditional use to allow for a bed and breakfast home in a residential R1 district per Article 6, Section 612.5, based on the evidence, testimony, and finding of fact. The fact being that that particular article and section for bed and breakfast is not applicable to this, and neither is the use covered within that section.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second.
Second it.
Roll call, Mr. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Cangro.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. McAdams.
Aye.
Mr. Jink.
Aye.
And motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Mr.
Aye.
Mr. Walker.
Aye.
Mr. Cangro.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. McAdams.
Aye.
Mr. Jink.
Aye.
We adjourn.